It's jumping in.
Kids are vicious when it comes to their Marvel. How you doing, Doug?
Good, man. How are you? Welcome to Brothers and Booze, folks.
Excellent. Yes. I'm drinking this wonderful Giant Jones Burnt Ale that some will soon come near you. So you'll,
hopefully it'll actually come to my house and not like somewhere out in the street or something. That'd be nice.
It'll come to somewhere near you and it'll be in your preview. Yeah. I don't know anything about that. I didn't say anything. But this is a nice malty with some hops on it too. Let's see here. Simmons fresh biscuits with marmalade in a field of daisies. Defining supposedly dominant trends. It's fantastic. What's going on?
No, well, we have had that, I believe, together once, but it was like a couple years ago. So yeah, I'm super jealous. But yeah,
yeah. Well, you're about to make me super jealous, I believe.
Not yet. That will be later.
All right.
Yeah. So what I'm getting, this is another one that our friend Lauren Yee sent me. This is a Nitro Stout from Free Will Brewing. Really cool label. The architectural Wenlock. Creamy and smooth with flavors of coffee and chocolate is how they advertise it. So I'm afraid I'm opening this and I'm going to be whoosh all over the place. So here we go. It's supposed to be nitro. So here we go. Didn't quite get the whole fizz that I was hoping for, but I pour some of it on the outside of the glass like the pro that I am.
Into your dirty glass? Hey, my glass is clean today.
Not mine. See?
Oh.
I give up. Whatever I try, it doesn't work.
Oh, Lauren likes it too.
Yeah.
Yes, I finally figured out how to make our promo things look like this.
Yeah, and that looks like, remember the old pop-up video things you would see on VH1? That's what that reminds me of. So
pop-up video.
Yes. Now we're going to get violated for that.
Right, we're going to get censored for that. Right. Pop-up video was good shit, though, man. Anyway, what's in that glass there?
So, coffee, creamy, like really, it's only, I think it's 6% ABV, maybe. Yes. No, 5.2. I stand corrected, but like, that's what you want out of a nitro stout. You don't want a high ABV. You want that good roasty, caramelly coffee, like all the good stuff. And it's really creamy, too. So that really hits the spot. You see the head still remains. So yeah, really good. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren. Thank you. And Lauren, make sure you stick through the credits tonight, Lauren. Little tip. So before we bring on our fantastic guest, I want to show a clip. We'll get her response about it, but I want to show you this clip because it's just.
You want hit book? You hit, you book, and you eat. You eat hit book. You want Biden will fuck your wife. Biden will fuck your wife. You want Biden go to your house, fuck your wife. You want it? Biden love your wife. Biden fuck your wife. Biden fuck your wife.
She seems a little fixated.
Yeah, I didn't think she was saying Biden's gonna fuck your wife, but then when she said it 5 more times, I think
it finally registered.
What? See, there's a lot of things to unpack on that one real quick, but these people are what's going on? People are still out there fighting about the election, or what? Are we still doing that, or that's still a thing, or what the hell's going on? Like, are there people still grouping and protesting? I just saw that there were Trump supporters, but like, I don't understand.
Was that at maybe? Well, he hasn't had a rally in a while. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Like, we get stuff here where the protests aren't Trump, it's mask stuff,
right?
But not like here's all. But although when you see the mask protest, those folks are generally wearing Trump.
Like there's all these Trump signs and stuff, so I'm thinking that it's a Trump. Look, see, Trump. What's that? That's a Trump. Wait. Biden's gonna go to your house. She just said Biden's gonna go to your house and your
Fuck
wife.
Your wife. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
I bet that's
Florida or Texas. They're about even now, I think.
I was just shocked that this stuff is still going on. Like, you're still arguing about this election. Like, I mean, even we didn't like when Trump got elected, but we stopped arguing at something.
We're like, this sucks, but what we gonna do now? We got to figure out what to do going from here. So yeah.
Right. So some of these videos I like to show, but I don't want our guests to be messed in with that unless they want to.
Yeah.
we can get all messy. It's cool. But anywho, Doug, without further ado, we're gonna bring on our friend Latifah Mcmullen. I met her at Fresh Festival, and I actually met her at I believe we met at the Bottle Share. That was a private bottle share, which is one of the best bottle share, the infamous best one, infamous in a good way, because it was just love and beer and friendship and people, acknowledging each other and also learning from each other and learning other, finding other people, networking. It was fantastic. Our friend Sterling was there. We got to get Sterling on
sometime.
Yeah, we do. I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sing that song.
What's that song? No, we're not.
No, we're not. Anyway, what was that? McDonald? Anyway.
Mr. Michael McDonald, yes.
Is that who
of the Doobie Brothers fame, so yes.
Okay. So I was right. Great. Anywho, she is from West Philly, from where I'm from. She's a real estate agent there, so we could talk about all that. We got to jump into that. Yoga lady. So we're gonna bring her on right now. She's gonna tell us all about it.
What's up?
Hi, Latifah. How you doing?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers to you.
Oh, wait, where's the camera?
Oh, what do you have in the glass?
Beautiful glass.
Yeah, beautiful glass.
So this has been one of my favorites for a little bit now. It's called Forager Coastal Sunshine. So they come out with different versions. I don't know what version this is. This is version 14. So it's a smoothie sour ale. Sometimes they have fruited sour ales, and they taste like brunch. It tastes like a mimosa. It tastes like I can drink you at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning and I don't feel guilty about it at all. Because on the flip side, my other favorite beers are porters, and I like them strong, dark, and heavy.
Yep. What's who makes that particular beer? What's the brewery?
It's called Humble Forager.
Humble Forager.
And they have really pretty cans too.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like that.
Like, it's super pretty.
Yeah, I'm really a can art nerd, so that's like makes me happy to see that. So.
We have a runner up in here.
Yes, I am. Well, okay, so
are those race tags behind you?
They are. So I have 10, 11 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm getting older. I need to start doing something again. Like, you get to a certain age, you feel like, all right, listen, just going out, hanging out, drinking, your metabolism slows down. So you have to do something. So I decided to start running. And Philly has one of the largest 10 milers in the country, the Broad Street Run, where you basically run from 10 miles down Broad Street. So I did that. And then I was like, oh, let me try this again. And then ended up running like a bunch of other races. And then I was with a running group. So I was like a mentor for a group. I led a group. So I've done 3 full marathons. So the full 26.2 miles 3 times. And then I've done about 15 or so half marathons. I've never actually counted. I think they're all up there. I'm not sure. This was supposed to be a temporary placeholder because I was like, I had them all like laying around a bunch of different places. I was like, oh, let me just hang them up and see what they look like. And they've been up there for a couple years now.
I thought it was America.
You thought that it was a flag?
I thought it was some sort of map.
Like, yeah, kind of like in the shape of, yeah. What were you gonna say, Doug?
No, I was gonna say it's just like a map. That's what I was thinking too. But that's pretty rad because my knees are like paper at this point. So like running would not be something I would be good at. So I admire that you could do that.
It was one of those things. Like I think I was having like a little. It was past my quarter life crisis, but it was like a crisis. Like, all right, what am I do? What am I do? My jeans don't fit.
Right.
Right. I need to be active.
So Lauren's digging your frames.
Thank you.
Yeah, Latifah be like, nah.
We went right into like beer running. I'm supposed to introduce myself.
Yeah. So it's kind of a big area to jump into, but actually let's go here first. So while we're here, did the yoga thing come up with the running?
No.
Because I see that you're kind of a yoga savant, too much of a word for me to say, but no. you have classes and you're trying to get people together, with yoga. How, where'd that come from, and how, tell everybody about that.
So I am I feel like yoga beginner, but I am a yoga teacher. I am a certified trained yoga teacher. 2019, I decided to go to yoga teacher training. And initially when I started, it was more for me. I was like, I need to do more. Like I should do more than just run. Like, and yoga's a lot more than just like the poses. It's a lot of breathing, a lot of like looking within yourself, a lot of like, head, heart, all those types of things. So I did my yoga teacher training in 2019 and we were in person. Then come March 2020, the deal, we all went virtual. And then I never intended to teach yoga. It was more for me. I was like very selfishly went into it. And I told my teacher, like, I'm not teaching yoga. I'm doing this for me. And then ended up teaching yoga. So when we went virtual, we had to practice teaching on people because that was part of the training. And then I had a partner where we have to like practice teaching on each other. And I said, well, listen, this is gonna be really hard to do over Zoom. Let's meet up at a park. Like, I know it's COVID, but it should be pretty safe outside, so let's go outside and let's do it. So May 2020, we met up at a park. I called one friend. I said, hey, can I practice teaching on you? She said, yeah. And then we did a class that day. Then this guy walking his dog was like, oh, are you guys here every Sunday? And we kind of looked at each other and were like, I guess so. And then from that point on, it's been, all right, cool. So Sundays at 10:30, we'll just show up here. And that's how it's been for about 16 months now. Every Sunday, 10:30, Malcolm X Park. One of the things was like, West Philly is made up of like 5 different zip codes, right? But West Philly can be kind of segregated. So we wanted to make it at Malcolm X Park, which is 52nd and Pine, which can be a big dividing line because when you're east of 52nd Street, it's like University City, so it's a lot of colleges. There's like more diversity, I guess you call it. And then there's Black people when you cross 52nd Street. And you don't have a lot of like Black yoga teachers. And I didn't see a lot of Black yoga teachers when I was taking classes. And I didn't see people who look like me in my class. Funny thing is, when I did my yoga training, I was like, all right, what's this class gonna look like? And I asked one of the Black teachers. She's like, oh, I know this other girl that's going to be there. And then end up half the class being like people of color, like seriously a diverse yoga class. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to stay.
So you did this class outside, which I thought was brilliant. I follow you on Instagram for your yoga classes. And I like yoga. I'm terrible at it because like I said, I spent 50 years beating the shit out of my body, so it's like it doesn't really respond well to being flexible.
Doing what though, Doug? Shooting hoops and what else? Tell her your athletic background.
Okay, are you gonna make me do that again?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, so she can understand. She can understand your athletic job, show.
So the basketball stuff was, I was not very athletic. I was the guy that just hustled his ass off, and I dove for every loose ball, and I had very little regard for my body, and I've broken all my fingers millions of times, and like broken my nose 8 different times. I mean, I just was very much I had very little regard for my own well-being when I would play.
So Dennis Rodman.
What's that?
You were Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, with less craziness, hopefully. But and then I got into house dancing, and that is a whole different level of beating your body up. So yeah, that was a good 10, 15 years. And but yeah, it's not that I don't like. The thing is, for like running, when I see somebody who's able to run, I think that's awesome, because I can't run. I can hike forever. I can't run. Like, because my knees hurt like almost instantaneously. So
So
it's
I
just
mean, that was kind of the weird part too. Like when I was in high school, I played basketball and I ran track. I never wanted to run distance. So when some of my coaches found out from high school, found out like ran Broad Street or ran like a marathon, I'm like, what? You're the same girl who like argued on a bus with to go from the 100 meter to the 200 meter. So a half a lap around the track, I argued with my coach for an entire hour. Like, no, I'm not doing it. You want me to run 100% more than I already am? No. And now for them to see like, oh, you did what? Like, yeah, I did. It's amazing what like a little bit of vanity will like push you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one question I wanted to get to before Greg sidetracked me into my years of abusing my own body. So you had the outside stuff, and what did you do when it became winter? Because Philly does get snow. It's not warm outside in the middle of December. So how did you manage that?
So one of my fears when I decided to start teaching, like, what do you do with burnout, right? Some people are okay with like doing the same thing, the same time a week, every week. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so forever? Like, when am I going to get a weekend off? So because of global warming, it was actually still 60 degrees in December. So we actually went until probably like the first or second week in December, because there was a couple Sundays where it was still like 58, 60 degrees in December. So we went until December and then stopped until March, and it was okay.
Wow.
So I kind of like those like natural breaks in there. It's like, I didn't post this week yet, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of people canceling outdoor things this week. Looks like it's gonna be a really big chance of like hurricane this Sunday. So it's like cool, like it's a natural break.
Right. And then do you do any home so did you do anything at home? Do you do home practices? So
here's the thing. One of the things about yoga teachers, like once you become a yoga teacher, you kind of stop practicing yourself. So I've been really bad with practicing myself at home. So sometimes, like, if I see a friend teaching, I'll just, like, pop up in their class and take their class, because it's been, like, when you're home, it's like, I just want to lay here. I just want to lay here playing with my phone. Right. I mean, we still in a pandemic, too, so I'm not pushing myself to do a whole lot.
Yeah, I hear that.
Is it something like, so I work in IT. When I come home, the last thing I want to do is fix any computer stuff. Well, I work from home, but, like, the last thing I want to do is, I don't want to fix shit. I want to sit on my ass. That's what I want to do. Not that I don't do that all day, but yeah.
Here's the thing though, yoga is way more than like the poses. Like I said, there's like 8 limbs of yoga, but some of the main parts of yoga is also like meditation. So if I just sit quietly and meditate for 5 minutes, that's yoga. If I concentrate on my breathing for a few minutes, if I feel like I'm stressed out about something and I'm like anxious breathing, and then I'm like, all right, listen, I'm just gonna sit here, focus on my breath for a little bit. That's yoga. That's just what it's been. So it's not always like, oh, I need to do this pose and I need to sweat and I need to stretch. No. Some days it's literally like laying on the floor. And I love it.
And so I don't know if you put the two together because I haven't seen it, but there's this big rise of yoga and beer people too.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And this was pre-pandemic, so I want to see what happens, afterwards. But there was a growing number of places that I saw. They would have yoga, a yoga class in the brewery, and then everybody would share a beer later, afterwards. It would start to become a thing. Doug, you saw it too, right?
Yeah, I know several friends who would do that, and they would go, like, I'm going to do yoga, and then it'd be at this brewery, and then they'd have the class. You'd pay for the class, and then you would get 2 beers as part of the price of it. So
interesting.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Running and beer has gone together. Like, I think that's really how I started drinking beer. Like how I really started drinking it more and more. But yoga and beer, I haven't really gotten to.
Yeah. So running and biking and beer, really, really solid already. But I feel yoga's coming up, and we'll see again. post pandemic where we're at with all that, because we're still not rolling 100%, even though we're open and all that other things. Breweries aren't going cranking out like they were before that.
Right.
Whether it be events or even the beer. So I'm waiting to see that happen, but I'm hoping that it helps. Yoga is a chill out thing as I see it, and I'm hoping more people do that because people need to chill the fuck out, Latifah.
So I've seen more than beer. I've seen more like flower friendly yoga. So 420 friendly yoga.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen that a lot. And
oh,
I have people who come to my class and they get themselves right before they practice.
oh,
And they feel
okay,
great.
okay,
Free
okay.
gaming for yoga. Awesome.
Yep. Biking and beer. Yep. Yep. Big thing. Especially here in Madison too, really. The biking and beer community, they're rallying, they do all that stuff. So that's great. Yeah. Doug, do you have anything on the yoga before we
Yeah. The meditation stuff. I love trying to meditate. I am bad at making myself do it. I'm really bad at just like sitting because I like lots of folks, people of a certain age. I'm almost 50. I grew up. Your goal was to be productive. Like you got to be doing something. Like I'm a big fidget. So like if I'm sitting watching a show, I can only watch a show or two, and I'm like I need to go do something. So there's that. How do you get your brain to stop doing that? To just all right, just sit yourself down and actually fucking breathe and calm down and just try to do that. When I do it, I feel great, and that's why I don't understand why I don't do it more. How do you
Listen,
meditate?
I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. It's not like you get to do it, you get to a point where you can do it and then like you can do it forever. It's not like that at all. It's like you're constantly like something else is going on. And it's like, okay, I have to work through this and let me sit here for a little bit and let me meditate and let me try to clear my mind. And you're like, it's like that cartoon where like squirrel, like you hear a noise and it's like, okay, all right, let's sit here. Wait a minute, what? And then you're like making your list and you're like, okay, this is not working. Let me just go do what I need to do. Like, I think that people go through that, especially in like society. Yeah, you're right. It tells us like, what are you doing? What did you do today? What did you accomplish today? And also right now, pandemic, yoga has helped me like, no, I'm not doing anything today. Like, I'm going to sit here and do nothing.
And you get and be fine with it. That's I've learned that during the pandemic too. Right. But before that, though, right before that, but especially when it was early pandemic, where there was little. I mean, if you can stay in your house now, it's great. But there are actually places you could go. Like when the pandemic first rolled in, there was no place you could go. Nothing was open. I mean, the supermarket and crazy things like that. But like you really had to stay home. So it was more like all of our everything that was cool was canceled. So there wasn't anything like you could be like, oh, I'm gonna go out and do something. So you just had to deal.
No, like seriously, for me, I think it might be an unpopular opinion, but like the beginning of the pandemic was like, cool. There's nothing. Like there's nothing I have to do. There's nothing I can be doing.
Right.
Like there's nothing. Like I'm going to sit in the house. I can't go outside.
Right.
I'm play with my nephew. And I'm just gonna lay here. Like there's nothing to do. It was great.
Right.
Like I understand. It's like there's other things going on in the world. Like I understand outside of my bubble, there's a lot of things going on. But also, where society tells you go, 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 to have that like nothingness, I was like, cool.
Yeah. So
like when you shut down, you're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do all these things for the next 2 weeks, and it was like, nah, I'm not doing any of it.
Yeah, I did all those things.
Oh no! Listen, I kept saying I was gonna start reading. It took me like 9 months to say, all right, I'm gonna finish this book. But like those first beginning weeks when everybody's like, if you're not doing something, then what are you doing with your time? It's like,
sitting on my ass, right?
Right. It's a weird dichotomy, right? Like, and I see people like that, and they're like, well, if you take this time to like, we're just all trying to fucking survive this thing, like
at some point.
But I'm also like, okay, I got to do something. Like it wasn't a matter of, it was like not betterment. It was like, I just need to do things. Like my wife and I, we dug out a freaking big garden and we built a greenhouse and we remodeled our kitchen. We did all these things through the pandemic because I was just like, I'm sitting still and this is driving me nuts.
Right. That's where I'm with Latifah. Right.
The only thing I was consistent with was
Yes, Lauren, that's me.
continuing my yoga teacher training. That was the only thing I was really like consistent with, because like we had a certain time frame that we were finishing, so it was like I would have full weekends where I was like on Zoom, and that got annoying. But also like, cool, this 1 week in a month, this is what I'm doing, and it's like it's already scheduled, so I'm doing it. But other than that, it's like, nah.
Give you a little structure, little bit, right? But not enough to throw off your daily living of just sitting on your ass and getting through. And mentally though, I don't think people respected other people's mental state during the pandemic and how you handle it. That was how you handle it, Latifah. Like, you handle it mentally by saying, fuck it, I'm not doing anything. Some people handle it differently, like Doug, by making a greenhouse. Some people handle it differently by drinking. Some people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we all had our ways to deal with that.
And there was lots of drinking in the beginning of the pandemic. It was like this. It was like a bell curve. It was like up and down. So in the beginning, it was like, luckily, Pennsylvania, before a couple years ago, we didn't have wine or beer at supermarkets. You had to go to like a beer distributor or
state store
to get wine, beer, alcohol. So like, I don't really drink hard liquor. It's like water, wine, and beer for me. So luckily, like Whole Foods had wine, and I was like, all right, so we got a grocery store run. How much wine do we have? Like, we need some beer.
Let me buy all of it.
Grab some beer, and it was like we had all the alcohol. It's like, if we don't have anything else, we have water, we have toilet paper, we have wine. We're good.
Yep. So Lauren says she tried the guided meditations, but when she tries to focus on her breath, she overthinks it and starts to breathe weird. And Jonathan says, right, focus on your breathing, but breathe normally. What the fuck?
So there's a couple different breathing things you can do, and it's funny because my class, they even though they come for the class, they like the end, like the shavasana, the final rest, and I walk them like through like a breathing exercise. So if you do like a Calm app or like one of those apps that does a guided thing, it's probably a little bit easier. I kind of probably should listen to some of those because I do it for other people, but I don't do it for myself. And like, I have them lay there and I have them like, they breathe in for a count of 4, they hold it for a count of 5, and then they blow it out evenly for a count of 7, and do that for a couple rounds. You kind of notice like, all right, I'm chill, I'm here. But seriously, I tell people too, like some people say, like, Doug, I understand you have, you said you beat your body up, and people say like, oh, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. I'm like, seriously, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. That is the only requirement. And that's like, that's also why, like, I wanted to, or why we started, it's called Practice in the Park. It just randomly came up with like practice in the park. Like, let's just go practice in the park. I wanted to bring it outside because, one, we're in a pandemic. People, need to take care of their mental health, or trying to figure out ways to take care of their mental health. And then also, like, yoga is not, there aren't a bunch of yoga studios in West Philly. And granted, it's not a yoga studio, it's outside, but it's a place in West Philly, a predominantly Black area, where people can come out and try yoga. And like, literally, my class is predominantly Black. Like, I've been in yoga classes where I'm like the only Black girl. Like, there's one white girl in my yoga class regularly. Everybody else is Black.
Nice. We have something. So we have our friend Kyle says, I fell in love with hazy IPAs during the pandemic. Our friend Brock says he took a massive uptick during this crazy time. Yeah. Oh, they have goat yoga here.
Yeah, goat yoga. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of that. So
that sounds like some white people shit, though.
You said it, Doug. You said it.
It does. Sorry.
Wait. So they actually have goats? They bring goats?
Little baby goats.
Walk on you or something.
Yeah, they're little baby ones. They don't let like the big ones come and stomp on you.
Okay.
They put the little baby ones. Like, the cute videos where you see them bouncing around and all that shit? Those are the goats they put there.
And then how are they involved with the yoga? What?
Your guess is good. I want to know if the goat shits on you while you're doing yoga, is that supposed to be relaxing? Because I don't know.
I think Brock's going to tell us.
Come on,
Hopefully.
Brock, tell us
Listen,
because I've never been.
I use goat's milk soap. That's the only goat I need around me is my goat's milk soap that I order from upstate New York. That's about it. I don't want to go walking on me.
Right. Right. So a follow-up, Kyle said every damn brewery made hazy IPAs.
No,
during
that
the
was me.
pandemic.
That was me saying
Oh,
Lauren,
okay.
Lauren asked why not before the pandemic, Kyle, and I'm like, that's because every brewery made a goddamn hazy IPA during the pandemic. The amount
Yes.
of IPAs I think went just through the roof over the pandemic. I mean, we had a lot of IPAs before. I feel like that just went nuts during the pandemic. Maybe I'm wrong.
It was nuts before, but yeah, probably. Cute factor for the goats.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Brock says they have little pygmy goats, like Doug said. They
Oh, yeah,
sometimes
they are
stand
little.
on your back.
Well, pygmy goats are different than the baby goats, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. If you
No.
say so.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Unfortunately, I know that stuff. So
Before we get to your second one, Doug, another kind of bizarre thing. We hit the goat yoga. Thanks, Brock, for that.
thanks, Brock. I was going to mention that, but I didn't know how to bring it up. So thank you, Brock.
Right. Let's talk about another kind of, in my opinion, somewhat silly thing here is these things. So Samuel Adams has entered into a collab with PepsiCo to do hard sodas. So I asked y'all in the pre-production, but not to say anything. I asked them and said, "Are y'all down with this? Is this something that you're gonna? Are you interested to buy it? Is it a fad that you see going? Where do you see all this, Latifah? Where are you at with all of this?"
So this is a hard soda, not a hard cider.
Yep.
It's a hard soda.
Mountain Dew.
Yes.
I mean, it's not for me. Number one, like I see Mountain Dew and I think like crack damn near because like Mountain Dew is how much caffeine? Like I don't drink caffeine, so
right.
For me, that's like a hard pass. And then it said malt liquor at the bottom, and I immediately think like Old English, and I'm like, nah, I'm okay, I'm good.
I didn't even see the malt liquor thing.
It says zero sugar.
No. The very bottom writing at the very bottom, it says malt beverage.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not, and like I feel like growing up in West Philly in the 80s, like you think of malt beverage, I think of Old English, and I'm okay.
Right at Cold 45.
Billy D is cool, but like no, I'm not drinking it.
Billy D was very cool. Yeah. So and then I don't know the zero sugar 5%. Doug, what do you got?
All right. So I will confess that like once a month I'll grab a Mountain Dew just because for some reason I forget how sugary it is, and then I drink it and I'm like, why am I drinking this? I look at that and say pretty much a hard pass. I didn't even know it was the malt liquor stuff. The malt liquor stuff has such a weird taste to me. And, you know, I grew up in the 80s and 90s as well. And like in college, like getting 40s was cheap. So like that was something we did in college a lot. And that is not something I want to revisit. So I don't know. Is it like hard Four Locos? Are we going to do that next?
That's exactly what I thought when I saw this. I'm like, is this a new Four Loco?
That's the only thing I could think.
So maybe not, but still, like that's what I thought when I saw this. Like the 2021 Four Loco.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They're going to say zero added. It's probably like something like zero added sugar, but they already have the high fructose corn syrup in there. So it's like still lots of sugar.
It's going to be another one. Keep it out of the use hands.
I'm okay. No
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't disagree I don't disagree with that because the idea is like it looks like Mountain Dew.
Right.
And if parents aren't on top of their shit.
Well, it does look like Mountain Dew. It's like what was it? It was a couple times like back to school time, you know, kids would like make their lunch. It was a couple stories where like a kid actually brought like alcohol to school because the can of the cider or the beer looked so much like a soda, and they just grabbed something real quick and put it in their lunch, and then they got in trouble at school. And it's like, I mean, it's easily can be a mistake.
Right.
Maybe just says hard on the top of it. Maybe that'll be helpful.
But honestly, from this, you don't even know what it is because other than the top of the facts, the top says alcohol. But it's like,
but that's not the.
Look at the label. It doesn't look like alcohol.
Yeah.
No, I guess just it's the whole hard, and then you see how the hard is like pointing up to the ABV, and it's just all this connect the dot. Like, right. So I'm not a fan of it at all, actually. But the one collab though that I mean, I thought, listen, when you think of, when you think of hard alcohol and sodas, to me it's Captain and Coke. Where's that collaboration? Like, that is the natural first start. Like, that is the ultimate, in my opinion, soda, cocktail, alcohol. Like, it's Captain and Coke. That's the first thing. I don't think of Mountain Dew as a mixer. Who uses Mountain Dew as a mixer for any?
Hey,
what, Doug?
No, okay. So this just brought
So
to
like
mind
that's where I'm at. I dislike Bacardi. I think it's awful, and because I started having really, really good rums, I found out that Bacardi is really bad. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do a soda collab, that should be it. What are you gonna say, Doug?
I remember Joel and I were watching Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, the new version, and they went to, I want to say it was Mississippi or something. And they had this guy who was straight up white, like just a rural white guy from
Okay.
But he was such a sweet dude, but his wife left, and he was just kind of, he had a recliner on his porch, and he would sit there and he would drink these. He called them redneck margaritas, and it was tequila and Mountain Dew. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh.
How do you sleep?
So that's the one cocktail that you've heard about that has Mountain Dew as a mixer.
And I've never heard it anywhere else.
Right. I've never heard of Mountain Dew as a mixer. And I love tequila. That sounds
he was
horrible.
drinking. He was drinking the bargain shelf tequila that he could find and mix in.
Oh
And I just looked at that and went, "Hey, you know what?
Right.
We always say in the show, drink what you like, whatever. We don't care." That just sounded like something some kids in the meth lab came up with. They're like, "Here, try this."
That's a
yes,
lot.
sir. And on that note, Doug, you have a second beer.
It is definitely doesn't have any tequila or Mountain Dew in it, so that's a good start.
Or meth, right?
Or meth, thankfully.
Okay.
Trying to make this a family-friendly show.
Well, I warned Twitter that I don't know if Latifah's going to be able to keep us on the rails, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work.
I mean, I think we're still on topic.
Right. Oh, what's up, Doug?
So this one, when we went to Vermont for vacation, I brought one of these back because oatmeal stout, so it kept. This one I thought, Greg, you would like. It's called Symphony of Stars.
I love the can. I love any kind of astronomy beers.
Look at the moon phases they have on the side. Cool.
Yes.
So
Vermont has really cool breweries.
Yeah, they do. And what's weird is where we were was not in a brewery. It was not in a brewery friendly area. We were in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know.
Well, that's good.
I'm not. Well, I like that, except it wasn't. We had no Our Wi-Fi was spotty, and we didn't have any cell phone reception, so it was awesome. Meth liquor, Manny coming in from the top rope.
So no, I have a funny story about a beer trip I took. So a few years ago, when the Pope came to Philly. And they kept saying how everything's gonna be shut down, and I was like, "All right, I ain't trying to be stuck in my house, when the Pope is here, because you can't drive anywhere." Oh, we have the same glass.
Mm-hmm. It's really good for showing off the dark brews. That's why I like having it. Anyway, go ahead.
So
sorry.
When the Pope was here, I planned a trip. I called it a Popecation because everything was closed. So SEPTA was shut down, work was shut down, and it was like a 4-day weekend. So I planned a Popecation, driving north, going to New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, and visit 6 to 7 breweries. Went to Smutty Nose, went to Allagash. Allagash is on a strip where all these little micro breweries. So it was a Friday. They had all these breweries out here having just a great time. Went to Omegang in Cooperstown.
Yeah, you were about 70 miles from my house there, so yeah, Omegang's close. Anyway, sorry.
It was great. No, it was really, really good. Tried a lot of dope beers. I think I took a cooler with me. I don't know if it's illegal, but I took a cooler with me and had everywhere I went, got some beer from there. Like each brewery, it was really, really dope. I think in Vermont, I was in Stowe, and I went to this place called Dock Ponds. And then it was another one. I can't remember because it was like it was like September. So everybody was looking for Hill Farmstead. It was a beer that they made. Everybody was looking for that one.
Man, Nita, I have to double back here because I asked a question. Manny can't wait to try the hard dew seltzer. I can't wait for you to try it and then tell us about it. Brock said I used to mix blackberry brandy and Mountain Dew.
Wow.
Gummy berry juice.
Gummy berry juice. Named that.
Wow.
Okay.
Brock, I've never heard of that, but kudos for being inventive.
Yeah, Brock, share it here.
No,
I just shared it.
He was like, "Did you see my comment over there?" I'm like, "No, because I haven't checked that, but bring it over here. Let's see it. Now we know."
Right. See here, I had to fire a school janitor because during the summer cleaning time, he used to come with Mike's Hard Lemonade. He said he did not know it was alcohol until we pointed it out to him.
I didn't even know.
Right. When I was a teenager, a friend of mine stayed up all night drinking Mountain Dew and eating Captain Crunch to get a sugar high. We were being so white.
That sounds like a Tuesday for Manny.
That
sounds like a headache.
No, our friend Manny, who taught, he's like a big cereal head. So like he actually poured when he was on the show, he poured beer into a cereal and ate it on the show.
Now, a beer float, I get. Like beer and ice cream, I get.
Oh, beer and ice cream.
Yeah,
especially
Afro
like
beer
a porter
chick
with a really good porter. Oh, Afro beer chick.
Yeah, she was on her show and did this. She was talking about that very same thing.
Oh, beer floats are amazing. I think the first time I tried it, it was the Southern Tier creme brulee.
With what? Like vanilla?
Vanilla ice cream.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It was so good.
Wow.
That sounds awesome.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
The creme brulee is so good.
Stouts and ice cream is the bomb. Man, not yet.
A beer float. You gotta try it.
Okay, Doug. Gotta try it. Before we get to what Latifah does as her professional job, I want to see what's going on in this area. So, ladies first here. Latifah, what are you reading?
So I'm
currently
finished. So I think I just finished Asada, the memoir autobiography. I don't know if it's an autobiography. Asada Shakur, a woman from Jersey who was persecuted and now she's in Cuba, and it's about her life. And it was really, really, really good.
Okay.
And then right now I'm reading a yoga book. It's called Radiant Rest, and it's basically, hey, look at that. That's the book. I mean, and it's literally like everything I was talking about, just like relaxing and doing less, and how like rest is our birthright, and how our society teaches us like we are what we do and all these things that we do and all like, and then I see these quotes all the time and said like, how come we can't just like be like a tree is just a tree is a tree, because that's what they are. Like, how come why aren't people just like there? You're just here, not here to like kind of do and create and work yourself to death. Like, you can just be.
Amen.
Awesome.
Excellent. Doug, what are you reading?
Well, I just got this in the mail yesterday from our friend Jeff Bogle. He runs Stanchion's magazine, Stanchion Zine. It's a literary zine. This is the latest issue.
What is it, Doug?
Stanchion. It's basically it's a collection of short stories, poetry, photography. He just does the gamut of things. It's super cheap. It's like $25 for a year. You get quarterly copies. So like, and he just changed it so it's a little more like a book format.
Okay.
A little more fold. But I highly recommend getting this if you like, literature you're just not going to get out in the mainstream. It's a quick read. It's I think.
And what are they? Short stories, poems? What do we got in there?
We got short stories, poems, slice of life stuff, fiction. It's all over the place. Sometimes he puts photography in there. It's a passion project of his, and no, Jeff's a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
But every time I get it, I was saving it for this weekend so I could read it when I didn't have a bunch of things going on. So I'll be reading this weekend. So that's what I got. Greg, you got anything?
Excellent. No, I do not. But what I do have, though, no, I'm not reading anything this week. Or recently, I backed off on my normally it's just beer books anyway, so it's boring anyway. But speaking of beer, though, I just do have to say though, we got a comment here from Mac Brewing. Cheers. So now I feel that we're almost an hour in, that it's fine now to say that Latifah's brother is Dave Mack from Mac Brewing. They are a dynamic brother and sister combo, but I did not want to I don't know if you guys remember, Dave was on stream 2 months ago?
Probably, yeah.
Something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
And I met I'm sorry, what, Latifah?
I think it was about late June.
Late June. Yep. And actually, I'm sorry. Now that I think about it, it was the week before his Juneteenth event.
Yeah.
Right. Remember that. So somehow we were able to book him, and I've been trying to book Dave for years. So what happened was I reached out to Latifah and I'm like, you need to come on and talk. And Latifah's like, you got to have my brother on because you're beer people and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but I've been trying to get your brother for years. He hasn't responded. So since I met y'all, I've been trying to get him on. So I'm like, we'll get to him, whatever. So something happened where I booked you, and then he responded, and then we were like, I was like, man, let's get him before the Juneteenth so we can talk about that. So we were able to slot him in, luckily. But yeah, I didn't want to define Latifah as with her brother, and I didn't define her brother with her sister. So I was like, I'm not going to say anything about you being Dave Mack's brother, but we love Dave Mack around here.
Dave Mack's brother. Wow, whoa.
Dave Mack's sister.
It's cool. Listen, I plug my brother. He plugs me. It's cool.
Yes.
It works out. We definitely. I mean, when we went to Fresh Fest, it was great. We had such a good time. He talks about how he was a little nervous talking to Garrett Oliver. He talked about it a couple of times on a couple of different shows, and usually that's me. I'm usually the shy one. And I was like, let's just go up here and see what's up. I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. And went up there and gave him his beer. And then also, I definitely remember meeting you at the bottle share. And it was seriously the dopest experience I've ever had. One of the dopest experiences I've ever had.
Beer experiences, absolutely.
I mean,
not
but
a
also,
question.
I think I was telling my brother, I was telling some other friends, I was like, you grow up and people teach you, your parents teach you, no, you don't go somewhere and just drink open alcohol that's just sitting on the table. And it's literally that's all there is. It's open bottles of beer. There's growlers and cans, and everybody's just pouring in their cup. But it was no, everybody's just really, really dope, having such a great time. I think, Greg, I bumped into you a couple times in the kitchen trying to get the pizza in the backyard because it was hot. It got really, really hot at one point.
Yes.
And you were with some guy. I dropped a button on my bag and it was here, I think you dropped this. I was like, oh, thanks. Everybody was super friendly. I loved that atmosphere. It was the best atmosphere.
It was. And it also had people that you would generally think that are not approachable, with all due respect. Whether it be Dr. J was there. I'm not saying she's not approachable, but Dr. J was there. And Dr. J is huge on beer Twitter. She's a big beer person. A lot of people look up to her. They look to her for advice. She was just there, just hanging out. I mean, Afro Beer Chick was there hanging out, Eric Jackson. I mean, we had all of the beer Twitter. I mean, black people. It was just, again, I can't say enough about how good of a time that is. And if it's anywhere remotely replicated this year, it'll just be amazing.
So
that's why I met.
Walking into that, I had no clue about beer Twitter. I didn't know that was the thing. Right. I didn't know any of these people. I was
that's great.
My brother just said, hey, somebody told me about this bottle share. I was like, we just went to the bottle share. He's like, no, it's another one. I was like, where the hell are we going?
Right.
My older sister kicked in. I was like, who are these people? Where are they going? And we went, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is great. But I had no clue who any of these people were before we got there.
I had a little, but so I was a little, not starstruck, but I was a little damn, there's some Damn. Okay. Like, all right, great, great, and it was just a great time. But again, I would have never met y'all if y'all would have never went, because we didn't. I don't think we crossed paths. We might have crossed paths, on the day of, because the day after was the fest, or was it the day?
The brunch. Did you go to the
Yeah.
brunch? You were at the brunch.
I was at the brunch,
I saw you
right?
every day. I saw you all 3 days.
Yeah, I was all over. Yeah.
But
Greg is a social butterfly.
but
Don't
that's
let
where I
anybody
really-
say you're different. He's all over the place, that man.
especially in these settings for sure. But that's where I really was able to talk to y'all and get I was like, y'all from West Philly? West Philly? What? Like, whoa.
No,
I thought it was absolutely. So that was a great time, and again, we love your brother, and so that's why I'm like, Doug, we can't make this all about Dave. We have to make sure that we and I just
talked about him. It's over, like,
No, we got out of our system now. We're good.
Right.
Yet. So no, seriously though, he has if you do get the Barrel and Flow pack, he has 2 collabs in the Barrel and Flow pack. So he has a collab with Trogs and Harris family, and then he also has a collab with Montclair Brewing.
Trogs, man, that's no small feat.
Trogs and Harris family, so dope.
Yeah.
Harris family, who's
That's all I
also
got.
from West Philly.
Harris family, so dope.
Yeah,
I love it. That's fantastic. So Doug, I didn't get my second beer in, but I do want to show this quick clip because it's funny.
Why? Are you joking?
Oh, she's mad.
What would have been funny is if she would have fell right in that hole that he came out of. Oh my God, I would have shit myself, I think.
Why? Are you joking? No! Go back!
I like
No,
that.
wait,
Yeah.
Greg, do you have your own TikTok or you just found this online?
I go to, and I'm really clear about it all the time. I go to Reddit Public Freakout.
Okay.
And I was there literally hours before. I did all this pre-production stuff last night, and I didn't get my videos, so I was there literally. I usually go like a couple hours before, and yeah. I'm not even on TikTok with Latifah. Not even on it.
Me either. My sister sends me these things on TikTok all the time, and then she
Right.
starts conversations with. So I saw this thing on TikTok. So I learned this thing on TikTok. I was like, what?
I'm gonna say if you can stay away from it, do. It is the biggest time suck you'll ever run into. You'll be on that one more than
Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, it is, because it's at most 3-minute snippets. Most of them are a minute. So it's like just and
the shit's addictive like that.
And you go and you'll be watching something. No, I don't like that. And you swipe up and you go, oh no, or okay, that's it. And literally you can do that and it'll be an hour just flies out of your life.
No.
So don't you think it's interesting that the
Yes.
shorter the clips get, the worse the technology gets for our brains? Because I feel like growing up, you know, your parents and grandparents said, don't sit here and watch TV, like it'll rot your brain, called the idiot box. But at least you're watching something for like a half an hour or an hour. And now, like, as videos and clips have gotten smaller and smaller, shorter and shorter, it's like your attention span just goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing, because the idea of, like, if you have your kids watch something with commercials and they're like, what is this? Like, well, now here's the thing. We use Sling for like some of the stuff that we get for like Home and Garden Network and all that dumb stuff. So we get commercials there. But for the most part, it's like, what is this? Why are we not moving past that? And I'm like, that's not how it works. And then when you try to explain, that's how all the programming I watched when I was a kid was.
That's how you found the new toy that you wanted.
Yeah, or that was the time you got to go and go run to the bathroom and and you would have the countdown. It's coming back on, and you'd be like running.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No, those commercials were great. Saturday morning cartoon commercials. That's where you found out about the new cereal. That's where you found about the new toys, especially around Christmas time. That was the best. I mean, before like the Toys R Us catalog came in the mail, then you only had the TV stuff. Then you had to like drag your parents and they're like, no, look, it's right here. After you tried to describe it to them. and then you gotta send them to see the commercial.
Oh man.
Kids don't have that. Now they just send
Mhm.
a link and add it to their Amazon wish list or something. Where's the fun in that?
Right. So now that we're on TikTok silliness, before we maybe get serious, I have the silliest, dumbest question ever, and I have to say it. I'm almost embarrassed that I'm even going to ask this question, and I'm probably going to get tore up in the comments for asking this question, but it's silly, and I'm going to ask it. So here we go. He was like, "What is coming now?"
No.
So, does anybody ever call you Queen Latifah?
So my dad, one of his friends, like they call me Queen. So like when they refer to me, they say Queen. And then like sometimes when like you say your name over the phone, and you're like Latifah, Latifah, like Queen Latifah.
Okay. So
So people say, "Oh, like Queen Latifah's like yes, like Queen Latifah, whose name is
Right.
Latifah."
Seriously, Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, you had to ask. It's the kid in me. There's nothing wrong with Queen Latifah. She's fantastic.
No,
And
she's
so
amazing.
yeah, right. So it's not like I get the old, I always got the I was Greg Washington, so George Washington chopped down a cherry tree, and I'm like, George Washington did a whole bunch of really good shit, and you're going to talk about a damn cherry tree. This is very interesting.
Yeah, you know what I got?
But it's George, not Greg. Like, how do you?
Yeah,
you know what I got all the time, and I still get Dougie Fresh.
and that's great.
That's
great.
cool.
Yeah, but you can't rap like him now.
No. And after 8 gazillion times it said to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's cute. I'm good.
Right.
I'm not anywhere near on the level of that guy. He's fucking a million miles better than I'll ever be. So yeah,
he is amazing for sure.
He's a legend. So yeah.
What does it smell like, Greg? I saw you had your nose all the way in the can.
All in that can, right? It was
up in here.
Shut up, Doug. It was Mystic Knot barrel aged Irish stout with coffee, Doug.
Ooh,
what kind of barrel?
I don't know. It doesn't. It just says barrel aged, so I guess I'm gonna have to figure that out. It's bourbon, right? If they just say
usually
barrel
that's
aged, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So when stuff is aged in like bourbon barrels, they're like super heavy, and I'm like, it's too much for me.
They are super heavy and rich. Yep.
Really rich. Sometimes a little syrupy.
A stout brew with lactose aged in bourbon barrels with coffee added. So this is our jam. Damn! Look at that head, dog. Look at that tight. Wonderful.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it to my second one because I brought 2 of the Coastal Sunshine, but I also brought my other favorite type of beer.
Chocolate hazelnut porter. That's a good mix.
So
that's
this one's
really good mix.
Really good.
Heretic. What a good name for a brewery.
Yes. And what's the ABV on that? I thought I saw 7 or.
Yeah, it's 7. So it's pretty light.
Yeah, light.
You know who my brother is. Like,
that's true.
This is true.
Like, this is
okay, I forgot who you hang out with. I forgot.
No, I mean, but also even before, like so when I first started drinking beer, it was probably like at a running event or something like that. And then one time I went to visit a friend in Utah, of all places, and I had a porter, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And it was, I think it was called Old Growler, Old something. It was from the UK. It had like a bulldog on the front, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Like the porters have such like a dope mouthfeel. Like it just feels so full. And I've had like conversations with friends who they'll try a porter, and it's like, "Oh, it's too heavy," and I was like, it tastes like a meal. I was like, that's exactly what I want. Like, I want it to taste like dessert. I want it to be heavy. I want it to be filling. Like, and my friends would laugh. They're like, why does your beer come in a wine glass? I'm like, because it's like 10%. Like, they're not giving me 12 ounces, 16 ounces of this. Like it comes in. I want something in a fluted glass that only comes in like 8 to 10 ounces.
Right.
Because that's
So
what it is.
so you came up with beer aside of your brother? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I mean, my
Wow.
brother's 8 years younger than me, so I think I was drinking well before he was.
Right. But but my point is that like he didn't have this interest in beer and you're like, hey, I want to see what he's up to, or you didn't have an interest in beer and he didn't say, hey, what's she up to? Y'all just found it separately.
Yep, separately.
All right, look at that.
Yep.
Look at that. See, you would have never known that again, rolling up on y'all at the bottle share. But you're like, hey, you like beer, hey, you like beer. And I'm like, I almost, in a disrespectful way, but you didn't take it that way. I was almost like, why are you here? Like I might have said it in that way, but you were, we were very, very,
Yeah.
But I almost like, well, why are you here? Like, he's here, he's a brewery. Right. Why are you here? You're not you know what I mean? Like, it was more like, and I didn't really mean it to be that way, but y'all know how sometimes I can be, yeah. So anyway,
no, it was really cool. Like, I mean, I think we just talked about like, hey, there's just like black beer festivals. Like, all right, let's go check it out. And I mean, just over the years like that, I had started drinking beer, and I was like just trying a bunch of different stuff. I was like, well, that'd be cool to go to a beer festival with like a bunch of black people. Like, that's amazing, and it was the dopest thing ever. Like, I mean, I've seen it said a couple of times where it's like a family reunion. And it was like a family reunion for family I've never met before.
Right. Correct. That's a great analogy. Right.
I mean, but beer is so dope. Like, I feel like growing up, when you like think about beer, like for me, like I think about Old English. I think about, Coronas. I have one of my dad's friends. He was synonymous with like Moosehead. So like anybody where he went, he had a case of Moosehead with him. Like he would ride his bike to like the block parties, and he had 2 in his back pocket because like that was his beer. But like, when you're younger and you take a sip of that, it's like, ew, why do y'all drink this? But then like, tasting different craft beers, like, oh, this can be good. Because like I kind of went to wine because it's like, all right, this is sweet and this tastes better. And then, when you come back around to craft beer, and it's like, oh, this is actually really good. Like this damn sour ale, like smoothie, like this tastes like juice. It tastes really good.
And one of the things that I always accent about when we talk about Fresh Fest, and then we'll get to Doug's third beer coming up because it's appropriate to what we're talking about, was that at Fresh Fest, every single beer was fantastic. And I don't mean they were all, I don't want to say fantastic. They were all really, really good. Every time you walked up and got one of the collabs, you tried it, it was just very well done. It's not like a normal beer fest. I don't know how many of those you go to, Latifah, but normal beer fest, sometimes you got the brewers there putting out their oldest stuff, or you got stuff that's just not, you got bad brewers. There's no bad brewers when you have Mac Brewing, Harris Brewing, and Trost getting together to make a beer. There's no bad beer when you got Ale Sharpton and New Belgium. There's no bad beer when you got, I can go down the list of just fantastic people like collabing, but also really good breweries, and the recipes were on fucking point, Doug. So I don't know about all y'all, but y'all need to get over to Tavor and do the Fresh Fest, DigiFest beer thing. If you do, even if you don't go, sorry, I'm still, look, man, Fresh Fest that's the name. That's what it needs to be. Now, again, I'm going to go to Barrel and Flow and I'm going to support it, but Fresh Fest is, I don't know. Anyway, point is, if you go to Tavor, you can get, I think, maybe the beer that Doug's about to have, but you can get 15 beers for $100, and they're all black breweries and collabs. And I'm telling you, 10 are going to be bangers. That's it. I'm telling you right now, 10 are going to be really, really good. And it's just not. This isn't the normal beer fest beer shit. It's just not. So that's what I love about it. I'm doing that shit probably when I get off of here. $15 beers for $90. Yeah, I'm doing that, and then I don't have to go on through Pittsburgh like I did and hit 6 breweries to get all the collabs. I still might do that though. Depending on if I like one, I still might do it because then I could send Doug some, because Doug will be out of the country during that time. So Otherwise,
Sounds like
Doug would be.
Doug got an early preview of one of these beers.
Yeah.
Not one of the collabs though, but one from your brother was.
Yes.
He sent it to me with no label, which was like a mystery.
Oh, you have the honey ale, the lemongrass.
Honey and lemongrass, yes.
Yeah.
When he described this on the show, I was like, that is, of all the beers he has, that's the one I want the most because I've never had a combination like that. So,
Doug, you're a label guy. How do you like the label?
The label is astonishingly futuristic.
That's the 14% one.
14%.
Yeah, I have another one that's higher ABV than that, but that has to be something where I only have it by itself because if I drink any other beer besides that, I probably won't be able to talk.
We got into it with him a little bit, but not that much where he loves to do the big ABV beers. Reminds me a lot of our friends, Giant Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. But you know what I like about his beers is that they don't drink like high ABV beers, so they're kind of sneaky. But like it does not drink like sometimes when you think like 14%, 15%, sometimes even 10%,
the alcohol
like
or
really alcohol-y, like that,
or sweet.
No, neither of those. You get the lemongrass. The lemongrass is like right up in your nose. That's pretty and smells awesome. So I brought out my Judas glass just because I don't use it often enough. This is a great glass. So
yeah, Doug. I'm jealous. I didn't get any Mac beer sent to me.
Yeah, I sent him some, so I kind of bribed him into doing it. But this drinks nothing. This drinks like it's a fucking 5% beer. Greg, remember when we went and we had that wheat wine at that place and it tasted like it was like a 4% beer and it was 12?
And it was just so beautiful.
This is so fucking smooth. It's just that lemongrass and the honey is a little bit of a sweetener, but it's not overwhelming. The lemongrass is just on point in here. I'm sending you one of these because you've got to have one of these. It's fucking awesome. Oh
so how about the week before everything shut down? So like, was it a week? Maybe, yeah, a week before everything shut down, like May 7th, 2020, I had a home buyer class. And I did a home buyer class and I was like, all right, cool. What can I do? So I had like food and everything. And I asked Dave, I was like, yo, can you come pour your beer? And people talked about this beer so much. Like I had friends who were like, yo, that beer was so good. Like I don't think he had the lemongrass there then. He just had the Mac IPA. And like we had so much, so I was giving it to him. It's like, yo, like 2 beers. And I'm like, I'm good. I was like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that drinks nowhere near like a high ABV beer.
And Mac didn't have anything at the last Fresh Fest, right?
No, we were just there. So nobody had really family and everything had tasted his beer. And then I probably like the first person in like the brewery world who tasted his beer was
Garrett.
I think Garrett, and I think he gave some to Tio from Crowns and Hops. But I think Garrett was probably the first one to try it, and then he had a couple more and took it out like on a yard and had everybody drinking it. And
Garrett liked his shit too.
Yeah, it was pictures of him like drinking the beer. That was really dope. The thing I loved about Fresh Fest was like Garrett just walking around chilling.
Yes, and at the end too, he wasn't like, this is what I told everybody. It wasn't like he just made his appearance and left. Like this motherfucker was around till like it was dark and I saw him. Like it was like, and that was when Fresh Fest was over. It was like 8 o'clock or something or 7. Yeah, it was dark and I was like, hey Garrett, how you doing? Like, it's like, oh, I saw you before, blah blah blah. So like, yeah, again, it wasn't like he was just like, oh, I'm making my appearance and dipping. Like, with all due respect, some people who make appearances and all that do that, and I have other things to do, blah blah blah. No, that was his thing to do that day. Was to stick around and be at Fresh Fest, and then he just said so many wonderful things about it afterwards. And yeah, Doug, he's glad you like it, Doug.
It is.
Look at this eye rolling.
Yeah, but I don't. All right, so there's a lot of things I like, and I say this is really good, but And I'm not saying it because you're on the show. I'm not saying because we have had him on the show.
Right.
That is a fucking great beer. That
Doug,
really is.
Damn.
before you said that comment, you look like you were in a
Damn.
very meditative state.
Right.
Maybe I need to have one of those before.
See?
You were.
See? Latifah's on this.
I
Right.
think you're onto something.
She saw that for sure.
Like,
for sure.
You were like very like intentional with like that sip, and you were really like tasting it all in
Yes.
there.
And the eye rolling too. The eye rolling.
All right, so when you have you know how it is, Greg. If you get a beer that just really fucking hits the points you want,
Right.
and you're just like that. I want to experience all the notes in it. What am I missing? I don't want to miss stuff. You know, yeah. I'm actually very glad I poured into a bigger glass so that I could actually take in the bouquet of it. I just sound like a freaking wine snob, but that's what I mean. There's just the lemongrass is just so freaking lovely in it. It's really great. So thank you for sending it to me, sir.
Yes. And again, he's glad you like it. And man, so am I.
Oh, no, I just finished my beer. Maybe I will drink this coffee.
Hi, Darren. Later. Yeah.
Hey.
I got a question.
Wait. We should have Latifah talk to Darren about how are you with barbecue? Because Darren's a big barbecue guy, man. He's got some great stuff.
Barbecue? All right, so barbecue. All right, so lately I've been eating less and less meat. But so I hadn't been eating a lot of meat at all. And then my brother had his barbecue at the Juneteenth cookout. And my cousin made this bomb ass brisket. And it was so fucking good. Oh my God. I was like, I haven't eaten meat in so long, but this is good. Like, this is amazing. So yeah, barbecue was cool.
So you'll break your no meat thing for barbecue is what I'm hearing. Good barbecue.
It's not like
good
a
barbecue.
Hard no meat thing. It's like if it's good food, I'll try it.
Right. Otherwise,
food. Like I love food. Like I'm one of those people that gets hangry. Like I don't like BS food. Like no, I want some real good food. So like yeah, sometimes if it's like that smells really good, unless it's pork, I don't eat pork. But if it's something like if it
what about
smells
this?
Really good, it looks good, I'm gonna have it.
What about this?
Hell no.
I want to know what the fuck that is.
So here's the thing. Like
that is a
Bloody Mary?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Twitter did not save the damn link that I needed to send or needed to save. I went and looked back for it. But basically, this is $100 Bloody Mary from some seafood place in North Carolina. I unfortunately, again, I lost the link, so I'm sorry about that because I really wanted to credit them to make sure. But I saw this on Twitter. It's $100, and yeah, it's something. What were you gonna say, Latifah?
I see maybe $15 worth of seafood in there, like $20. Like, why is this $100?
Well, this better be like filet here.
And this is like the whole meal.
These are what? These are king crab legs, right?
No, they're Alaskan. They're not king crab legs.
Okay, so they're Alaskan. That better be like a really nice big lobster tail.
Oh my God! I just realized there's like
about 6 ounces.
What is the little sirloin that's like really? All right, so people are going to shit
Wagyu.
Wagyu. Okay, but Wagyu then that's probably right for how the meat is.
If it's
yeah, it is something that like with. All right, a lot of people when they get steaks and shit like that want them like I want them medium to medium rare, but a lot of people like it rare, and sometimes when it's that rare in the middle, I don't care for it. But
right.
So here's the other thing: like I don't like really like savory drinks. So Bloody Marys are not my thing at all.
Neither here.
This is just a lot. Like it's like grilled cheese with a steak with shrimp, with the jalapeno, with some bacon. Like you got surf and turf in a glass. Like why?
right. With the lobster and the fillet, along with the alcohol. Right.
Yeah, but I don't want that shit all mixed together.
No. Like what are you gonna do with that?
That's a bouquet. Right.
You know what I would do?
Think about it. When you drink like brunch and stuff, you get hungry. So like I understand how the utility of it, but
I would get a plate and throw all that food on the plate, and then I would go to town on the drink.
listen,
Right.
just
Also,
give me a beer, some crab legs, and some butter, and I'm good.
man, yeah, I that's.
I'm not a Bloody Mary guy. Maybe
Neither.
maybe someone needs to take me on a Bloody Mary tour, because when people say they're not a beer guy, I'm like, come with me on a beer tour, So maybe somebody needs to take me where maybe I didn't have a good Bloody Mary. I'm not spending $100 on it. I don't know. Maybe if we were all like hanging out and we did a beer thing and then we rolled up there and I can just throw a couple tens and we could have like share it or something. Maybe, but nah. No,
I mean,
not
I'm
my
all
thing.
for like food experiences. Like, I think that's amazing. Like when you go out to places and you have like the food experience, cool. I don't like the kind of like fad TikTok, Instagram, like trendy things that people do for food. Like they're kind of weird.
Right. So there's no segue to this. How do you we'll drop Doug a little bit here. How do you get into real estate? And was that something that have you done this your whole life? I mean your whole life, I mean your whole adult life. How about that? Working.
Life.
Yeah.
Greg, you don't even know how old I am.
Hey.
I'm 25, I could be 45.
Right, exactly. And my mother told me better to, to ask a lady her age. So I don't do that. But I'm just fascinated by the whole industry currently. But specifically you though, where did it begin?
So where did it begin? I mean, like I've lived in my house I bought my house probably like 12 years ago. 2009-ish. Super young, I just had my first job, and then like as soon as I started working, I was like, all right, I guess I need to buy a house. And it was like during the recession and everything. And so like my experience with that, I think kind of led me into doing real estate more after that, because like I was at work looking at houses, and then I would have people who were my age coming over at me at my desk like, what are you looking at? I was like, I'm buying a house. How do you buy a house? So like I'm teaching them all the stuff that I learned. I wasn't an agent. It was just stuff that I was learning on my own. And I ended up buying a foreclosure as my first house at like, late 20s. And I had to learn a lot real quick. Like I bought a house that, the electric was off, the water was off, the gas was off. What's an inspection? All right, I got to get an inspection. All right, I got to get all these things turned on first. It's February. I'm sitting outside in the cold. They were like, we can't turn the gas on till you got water. Water company said we ain't turn it off. So it's like, I got to figure out how to connect these dots really quickly to make this happen.
Yeah.
And then once I bought my house, like I had other friends who were like, oh.
In West Philly? I'm sorry. In West Philly?
Yeah, in West Philly. I'm in Overbrook.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
So
the house that we're talking. Okay. The house we're talking about now. Are you still in it?
Yeah, this is the house.
Okay. Cool. So that and that's in West Philly. I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No problem. So then after that, like I had other friends who were like looking at houses, and then they would start asking me questions. I'm like, why don't you ask your agent this? And they're like, well, I just want to ask you. I feel like it's a stupid question. I'm like, why? Like that's what they're there for. That's what they get paid for. So they would ask me all these questions about buying their house, and then I would like, help them through the process. Years went by, and then in 2017, I finally was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna take my get my real estate license. And I did, and it's just been amazing after that. It's been amazing since that, because damn near all of my clients are referrals or friends of mine. So like my broker makes fun of me. He's like, you don't do any advertising. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like I'm okay with working with like people I know. So it's been like friends of mine, family, like my sister's friends, like all these people for the last, almost 5 years. Like, no, I work with you because I feel comfortable with you. So it's like, it's a big ass purchase. Like you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. People want to feel comfortable with who they're talking to.
Preach.
And a lot of my clients are, you know, first time buyers. So, you know, they have a ton of fucking questions. They're like, well, what's this and what's that and what's the other? And I'm like, cool, I can give you all the information. Like I can run it down, like run it down so they understand. And I was like, tell me if I'm talking too fast. Tell me if I'm giving too much information. And most people are like, no, this is great. Because other times, I guess they feel like some people are just like, here,
railroading them.
Sign this paper here, sign this paper here. I'm like, no. That's not what I do. Like, I want you to understand. And like right now, Philly is in a very like interesting market in that like we're in the middle. We're in the middle of New York. We're in the middle of the DC. People feel like DC, Maryland is getting super expensive and unaffordable. New York has kind of been that way. But Philly is a place where you can have a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house for a pretty moderate price, where you can't get that in either of those places.
In a decent neighborhood, in a decent like especially in a decent like neighborhood,
school district
and stuff like that. Right.
There's only one school district in Philadelphia, so
that's fair.
There's only one. But I mean, yeah, definitely in a decent neighborhood. I mean, you see like massive changes just in the last even in the last year, you'll see like massive changes. Like West Philly is, I mean, Greg, I can go on a tangent about West Philly forever, but like,
please.
West Philly is, I mean, it has so much in West Philly, right? So the neighborhood of like Cobbs Creek is like near 63rd Street.
Yeah.
Cobbs Creek is like the borderline to like Delaware County, but Cobbs Creek has like a running trail. It has a pool. It has the park. It like butts up to the park. It has tennis courts, basketball courts, ice skating rink, right? So
public trans, all kinds of public trans buses, the subway, all that's right there.
Also, West Philly houses typically have been like a lot larger than like South Philly houses, because like a lot of West Philly houses were like 4-bedroom. And as things go on and on, also like 52nd Street is kind of a dividing line. 52nd Street, east of 52nd Street got really, really expensive. And then people were like, I don't know if I want to cross over 52nd Street. Like, it's not a great neighborhood. And then it's like, but it's kind of affordable. So then people started creeping over 52nd Street. And then it kind of like skipped certain places. So like 52nd Street to 57th, 55th-ish. It was like, all right, we can creep this far. But then some people kind of jumped to like 63rd Street and they started working their way back.
Right.
And it's been right. Insane. It's been really insane. So like on top of like being a real estate agent, I'm also a real estate investor. So like I'll buy property and rent them out. Still like pretty small, but like that's really what I want to do a lot more of. Just buying property and renting them out, but mostly in my neighborhood.
Commercial real estate then, right?
No, residential.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, residential, like single families, maybe even duplexes.
Yep. And for reference, I'm from 60th and 61st around Sampson between Walnut and Chestnut. And so that's kind of like the Cobbs Creek area there for sure. So how does I don't know how I get to it, but you and I had a really fascinating conversation because we kept talking about how does redlining and what you really caught me with was how these developers are basically predators.
So
in my opinion,
I won't say all of them, but I do think there are some predatory things that go on in real estate, right? So my thing is like, I help a lot of home buyers buy homes, right? But then when people want to sell their house, my last question, I'm like, listen, I'll help you, I'll sell your house. But my last question is always, are you sure you want to sell this house? Is there someone in your family you can sell this house to, give this house to before you sell it on the market? Because then when it comes to selling a house, like I understand, like that's what drives the market, but also I want to make sure this family understands, like this is part of your generational wealth. Do you want to really sell this at this time? Some people really do, and they're like, listen, I'm done with it. I'm ready to be done with it. But I always like, listen, I will talk myself out of a job and say, look, if you take grandmom's house and you put some money into it, renovate it, the money you won't get right now, maybe you can make that 2 or 3 times over in the next 10, 15 years if you just rent it out. Some people don't want to do that, and that's okay, but I just want to make sure they know that that's an option for them.
Because why? Because they're not the places, the predatory places, aren't giving them the value of their house, or
No.
what is the what issue do you see that they can't see? As
So
sitting in your place, sitting what
in
you do.
and I've seen this, like I've traveled to places, so I've seen it in North Carolina. I see it a lot in West Philly, a couple different places where you see like we buy homes fast, we buy homes cash, as is, no repairs. So say like I say grandma's house, right? Grandma's house, grandmom is like ready to be done with this house. Like one too many big repairs have happened and grandmom just kind of done. And then people have these lists where they call people on the phone. They constantly call them. Like I've gotten like postcards, like 25 postcards in one day. Like, we'll buy your house cash. So they'll buy your home and they'll buy it for, $25,000, $50,000. They'll put $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 into it. Then they'll turn around and sell it for $250,000, $300,000.
In West Philly.
Yeah, I mean those are just like real abstract, but not super strong numbers.
Right. No. Right.
That's how it happens.
Right. In West Philly, though.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So how about this? All right. So.
Wow.
So all right. So the shirt I have on, right? So I have on.
Yes.
Welcome to Philadelphia.
Yes. Yes.
So the move bombing.
Yes. Let's talk about the move bombing.
So those homes.
Yes.
So I mean, the move bombing. Like, there was a family there that the police didn't like, the move family, and then they bombed up city block. So 62nd and Pine, Osage, they bombed the entire block. They killed 15 people, 5 kids, 9 adults. So during that bombing, once that bombing happened, like it pretty much decimated the block. So the city had to rebuild these homes. They rebuilt them to the lowest bidder, and then a few years later, the home started falling apart. Right. So they paid people to leave the homes, and then you essentially had this city block, entire city block, just sitting, right, boarded up for years and years and years and years. And then I think 2, maybe 3 years ago, I think what they said, the developer said, is they sold each house for $1. So they got like 36 houses for $1 each. And then they developed these homes, and they developed these homes into 3-bedroom, 3-bath homes, backyard, cute little homes. And then they sold them for, on average, $250, $220. So now the price of West Philly is up.
Where were you when the move thing happened? I remember hearing gunshots. I remember hearing the bomb drop. I remember hearing all that. And I remember being in my house, and I remember being traumatized by it, and I remember all that shit. Where were you?
So I don't know where I was. I was 3 or 4.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't remember.
Aging me over here. But
But so how about this? This is the wild part about it, though, right? So you don't think about, like, even you said you were traumatized and that you heard it. So I had this shirt on one day, and like I just throw this shirt on, like whatever, I just wear it because the proceeds from the shirt went to the move organization. So I wore the shirt, took my nephew.
I want that shirt.
Philadelphia Printworks.
Oh, it's still available?
It might be.
Okay, I'm on it tomorrow. Go on.
But I wore this shirt to drop my nephews off at camp one day, and I saw a friend dropping their kids off at camp too. And then he stopped me. He's like, "Oh my God, that's the scariest shirt I've ever seen." I was like, "Wait, what?" And then he was like, "I remember when the bomb dropped." He said that he was like, because the homes that he lived in were like the last 3-story row homes, so you could see from where he was like to 10 blocks away, and he saw it fall. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Like I felt terrible, like that, like triggered that kind of memory.
Right. Wow. But it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it's also respect to people who are traumatized by it. But it's also a conversation starter shirt. Yeah, I don't have really much to say about this, Doug. Do you have anything?
I mean,
it's almost like a mic drop kind of situation. Like, how do you? What you gonna say, Doug? I'm sorry.
Well, Latifah was going to say something. You go first, and then I'll go next. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like West Philly is an amazing place. Like it definitely like different places have things that have happened, right?
Yep.
This is one of the things that have happened where like a lot of people outside of Philly or outside of like certain 80s babies know about. I mean, even in one of my like it was like a real estate group where the developer who developed the move houses, you know, I asked them like, hey, you know, did you know about the bombing? Like, you know, he was like, no, I don't. I was like, what? Like he had no clue about it. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So it was
Wow.
pretty interesting that like even somebody who kind of grew up in the suburbs of Philly, like regardless of age, who wouldn't have heard about it. But it's like kind of one of those things like in the list of things that have happened in Black neighborhoods that like shouldn't be forgotten and should be taught about.
Right.
Like these are things that kids should be taught in schools. I don't think I ever learned about it in school. It was kind of like the thing you know because you grew up in the neighborhood or grew up in Philly.
And didn't Philly have a Black mayor at that point too?
Wilson Good.
Right. So
Well,
like,
I don't think he was the mayor. I think he was like on city council.
Or,
Well, he's
okay.
He was like on city council, but I don't think he was the mayor at the time.
My point is when we have Black people in places like this, they can't push back. I mean, there's only so much they can do in these situations. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because, you know, sometimes society says, well, let's just put Black people in charge and that'll change everything. No. It's, you know, in order to be systemic racism and all that, there's got to be more work to it than just that. I mean, those are steps, but like,
I don't remember, but who was the police chief at the time? Was Rizzo the mayor?
It was probably that.
I think it was Rizzo.
My God. We're not even. Go on, Doug. Right. We talk about Rizzo. We could be here forever.
So when that Philly bombing happened, I was in 8th grade, and I lived an hour north of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
I heard absolutely nothing about it.
Really?
Nothing. And we listened to the Harrisburg, like we watched the Harrisburg news station like every night. I saw nothing about that. That's how, like, I look at that and I think about how did I not hear about that? Like, I should have. There should have been something I gleaned from that or saw on the news. Not a peep. And I mean, I was at that point. I lived 2 hours and 15 minutes away from Philly. I was not far. I was reasonably close, and it's kind of stunning to look back and just see how much of that shit was shielded from us. Like, you know, we were white kids and we were in rural PA, and they were like, "We don't want those people. We don't want them like traumatized." Well, how the hell there's so much I don't know, and it's kind of weird to. Go and see all this stuff. Like I remember telling Greg multiple times the first time I heard about the Tulsa race massacre was watching The Watchmen on HBO.
Oh wow.
And the opening scene is that, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I start looking, I'm like, I've never heard of this. Why am I just learning about this on a fictional show on TV? That shouldn't be. I should learn all this stuff. So yeah, it's all right. So I'm a very privileged white guy in a group, and I was a poor white kid. I wasn't unprivileged at that point. I was white. I had a lot of privilege, but at the same time, it's like not anything I learned as a kid, and I'm always disappointed and frustrated by what was taken away from me from an educational standpoint. And again, that's not to diminish what you all are going through. Yeah. I didn't get to hear about the trials and the struggles and all that. All I got to hear was just how great, rah, rah, rah we were. That's all I got to hear.
Right. That's super interesting because think about like Greg saying like something that caused him trauma. And then like, you know, because it's right there in our backyard. And then for somebody like you, it's like, you know, even though I wasn't right there, it's like, y'all, why'd you shield me from this? And I'm like hours away from this. Like, it's still a thing to like, you know, watch the news and see what happened, see what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mac and John verified Wilson Good was the mayor and Rizzo was the complete
police commissioner.
I like that. I like how he's complete on there.
Yeah.
So, a vague question about, or not vague, a general question about real estate. What's going on with the prices in Philly? Because you don't just do, I noticed, we need to put up your, where you actually work. But I noticed you, so, you obviously you have, West Philly, and you know that really well, but it looks like you're all over Philly. How's is the housing market? People say it's crazy now. Is it slowing down? Where do you see it as, just in general?
So right now, there's like a little dip of slowness, like just a little bit, not a lot. Like and it's only slow like in comparison to what it was like in the beginning of this year, right? So when the pandemic first hit, like real estate kind of had to shut down a little bit because we didn't know what was going on. And then as soon as like June happened, like people were like, "Nah, I got to get out of this apartment. This place is too small. I want a bigger space." Like
Last June, you're talking.
Yeah,
June 20.
June, like
June 20.
May,
Okay.
June 2020, like
Okay.
after like a month or two of everybody being locked down, it was like, nope, I need a bigger space. I need outdoor space. I need an office. I need this. Like people were like buying. Like everybody was like, I want space. And like so from June to probably like right now, it's been pretty insane. Like the beginning of this year, I mean, I was writing offers for people. I was like stressed. I was writing offers for people that were like $20,000-$30,000 over asking price and still getting denied. It was insane. It like I would say like March, April, May of this year were pretty insane. Like and it was different articles of places. Like there was places in DC where people were bidding $100,000 over asking, and they were still getting denied.
And these aren't just, so let's define the clientele. These aren't just big buyers, right? These are normal people like Doug and I, or are they bigger buyer people, or what? Because
it's a little bit of everybody. It's a little bit of everybody because I mean, think about it. If you're in a pandemic, people are working from home, right? So your income could be a New York income. You know, you can be a like I work in Manhattan, I get a Manhattan income, and you can move to a place that's pretty cheap, a little bit cheaper, like Philly, and have like a New York income, your cost of living,
and
now you're coming here where like you can afford a little bit more because you're working from home now. But like, yeah, there are people who are like, nah, like, what do you want? 600,000? All right, cool. I'll pay cash. Like that was happening.
Wow. There's always that interesting dynamic between the haves and the have-nots. And the reason I say this is because obviously we had people struggle through the pandemic, but we also still have this dynamic that I can't wrap my head around. We have people who are facing eviction and not paying their bills or can't pay their bills. Then we have people over here paying $25,000 over price for a house. I guess this is America. I don't know. I don't even know if you have an answer for that. It's just very, very interesting to me.
So it was kind of like this, like the people who still had a job and kept their job, you know, basically they were home, so they're probably spending less money and they had more money saved. Also, if they started investing in the stock market, they definitely won during that time. And then you have people who like, if they, you know, had a job, lost a job, you know, they're getting poorer and poorer. While the other people who kept their job, they're keeping their job. They don't have to pay student loans. They might be making some money off the stock market. So, you know, that divide just gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
So that's why you have like people who want to pay, you know, or not want to pay, but like they're willing to do whatever it takes to pay over asking. Then you have people who need an eviction moratorium because they have no way to pay.
Right. So,
yeah.
Any tips for any buyers out there?
Tips for buyers. All right. So I tell my clients, like, if you want to buy, you need to have, right now, they're kind of cracking down a little bit more. So it used to be like a 620, so at least a 640 credit score. You do not need to have 20% down payment. I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, I need to have 20%. I'm not ready to buy. You don't need 20% down payment. You need 3%, 3.5%, depending on the loan, conventional or FHA, between 3 and 3.5%. So if you're looking to buy, just think about closing costs, everything included. Think about like 10% grand total of the price of the home to close, right? So whatever your price range is, think about 10%, have that saved. You typically don't always need that because you can ask the seller to pay some of that. You can get certain credits. Sometimes there's certain grants. Don't count on grants right now because there aren't a lot out there right now. But yeah, probably like 10% all included. So that's like your down payment and your closing costs. And just like be patient. Like finding a house is not like finding an apartment. You're not going to find it in 3 weeks typically. You know, you have to do a lot more than just like turn the water on. It's like, oh, this looks good. No, you have to get an inspection. You don't have to get an inspection. It is highly recommended that you get an inspection.
You should get an inspection.
I don't, unless it's an investor. I don't think I've had a client not get an inspection. Inspection tells you so much about the house. And granted, like they can't tell you inside the walls, but they can like test. You know, they can like turn the water on, run the water on. My biggest thing is like West Philly is over a creek, and like the sewer lines are really old. They're 100 years old and they're made out of clay. The inspectors that I use, I have them. Oh my gosh. The inspectors I use, like I'll have them like run the water for like 30 minutes. And then we'll go like check the basement. We'll check like the ceilings to kind of make sure there's no leaks anywhere. I mean, because we can do all of that and something is still happening like 2 weeks after you move in. I mean, even the house that I live in, like I had like plumbing inspection or plumbing work, you know, it probably started like 4 years after I moved in, but like it could have cost me like $20,000. Luckily there was an insurance plan to pay for it, but like there's definitely something when you buy a house, and then just having that information from the inspection is super helpful and super important because they can tell you like, here's what it looks like now, and then here's some things that maybe you should look at in like the next year. Like most of Philly homes are probably built in like 1920, 1928, right? So unless the home has been completely redone, you have old pipes inside, you have old electrical wiring inside. There's knob and tube inside most of these walls. It's a lot of shit going on inside a house. So it's like kind of like just be prepared for all that. You don't want to spend all your money, you know, just to buy the house because like I said, whether it's a totally rehabbed house or a grandmom house, there's going to be some shit that's going to happen in that house.
Amen. Doug, I've asked 6 questions. It's your turn.
He's drinking at 14%.
Yeah,
that 14% is gone. That's how fast and good that was.
Wow.
But you are absolutely right. As a homeowner, that we were 10 years in, and we actually started refinancing, and it's amazing. Like trying to think of like we've done a metric ton of work on this house, but it's a house, which means it doesn't matter how much work you do. There's always more. There is always more. No matter what you upgrade, like we did that kitchen upgrade, it looks great. And then I look at the work I did in our upstairs bathroom a couple years ago when I had no fucking clue what I was doing. And I'm like, this looks like shit. And now I'm like, but it's just funny. There's a never ending list of stuff to do with the house. So yeah.
But it's yours though. At least, you know, at some point, at least, you know, what are you going to say, Latifah?
No, exactly. Like you said, like it's yours. Like it's super amazing. Like even when, you know, when I first bought my house, like I said, I was super young. I didn't have a lot of money. And I remember I moved in and like 2 weeks later, there was like a yellow line in my bedroom. And I was like, oh shit, something's leaking. So I was like, I cried, and that's kind of like my thing. Like I cry, and then I like wipe away the tears. I'm like, all right, this is how we gonna fix it. So, but yeah, within me moving in my house, like I had to get a new roof, I had to get a new heater, I had a stack pipe that had to get done. Like all of this within the first year, and like never have I said, I wish I never did this. Like I love my house. I absolutely love my house. Even the latest thing I did was some of the wood on my front porch. I did a refi and I got new insurance to get like a cheaper everything. And then the insurance company's like, you gotta fix this wood. I'm like, all right, fine. So I fixed the wood on my front porch and I fixed some pillars. But like the most important thing for me was to have these brackets so I can hang a hammock out there. So the last couple of weeks I've had a hammock on my front porch, and it is the most amazing thing. I fucking love it. Like I sit on my porch in my hammock. I fall asleep every time. The first time I laid in it, I fell asleep until 1:30 in the morning. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get up.
Right.
Like I live near a park, so there's like possums and raccoons that come on my porch all the time. I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. But like, there's so many things that you can do, and you can make it so amazing. And like that's why I try to tell my clients where they say, they have these like must-haves that they want in the house. And like, if you give me a laundry list of things you want, I'm like, we can find it, but like, let's see how it looks.
Oh no. So
HGTV, that whole
I was gonna ask Latifah what does she think of a show like House Hunters?
House Hunters. Give us your lowdown on that, please.
I posted something about that because I was like, on House Hunters, like, she's a butterfly conservationist and he, whittles for a living, and their budget is $1.5 million. Like, where the hell is this? Like, let's talk about where these people get this money from. Like, let's really be real.
Right.
You know that's like when you were talking about generational wealth, that's where that's coming from. That is
right.
Yeah,
like, you can
a
afford
load
that
of money
on those salaries if your family gave you $300,000 as a wedding gift, and now your mortgage is $1,500. But like, let's be real. Like, and I mean, and this is why like I like working with buyers. I like working with first time buyers because I'll have people who call me and like, all right, I want to buy a house, but I have $1 million in student loans. So I'm like, okay, now let's talk about what the real number is, because I'm sure you don't have $1 million in student loans. So it's like, it's this much. I was like, okay, we can work with this. Like, these things are fixable. These things are doable. I mean, when I bought my house and when I do home buyer classes, I tell people all the time, I try to be very transparent. Like, when I bought my house, my mortgage and my student loans were the same amount. I was like, how am I gonna do this? Y'all said I could, I guess I can. But then it also had me thinking like, wait, so you mean to tell me I could buy twice as much house if I didn't have these student loans? That's pretty wild. I'm glad I didn't do that. But also like, just knowing that like, yeah, there's times that shit was rough. It's times when like gas bill's $300, but you make it work, and you make it work because like you love where you are. You make it work. And it's not like a oh my God, like, how am I going to do this? It's like, all right, let's figure this out. Like, it's definitely doable. And a lot of my clients are like, when they're first timers, they look at like the pretty renovated homes, and then like, I'll take them to the pretty renovated homes they want, and they see how much they cost, and I'm like, that's a lot. I said, yeah, because you're paying for somebody else's work. You're paying for this contractor or this developer who bought this house, borrowed some money, worked with this contractor, put all this time in, and you're paying for whatever they picked out, where you can buy the house that like, hey, somebody's grandmama is selling this house for a pretty average price. Buy that house, find your own contractor, put that money in. Like, you don't have to, it's livable as is, but also you can put the work into it to make it more your style, not that contractor, that developer style.
But please, I'm sorry, Doug. Please tell me real quick, and then we'll get to Doug. Please tell me that the people on House Hunters aren't the normal people that you see every day. No. Because those, okay, good, because those people are annoying. Go on, Doug. Generally, they are like, oh, I need my 2 vanities in my fucking bathroom. You don't need no 2 fucking vanities, okay?
Well, you can have 2 vanities. You can have that, but do you have to look at that initially? Like,
but you don't need it though.
Is it right? That's the thing. When I talk to clients, you have your must-haves and you have your it'd be nice to have, right? So I've had clients who said their must-have was air conditioning. Philadelphia is not known for having air conditioning in 120 or 100-year-old homes, right?
Yep.
Most Philly homes have radiators. So if I send you a list of homes and I've sent some homes in your price range, I might send you 100 homes. If you say you must have air conditioning, then we probably have like 25 homes.
Right.
So now what I've told people is like, when I've told a couple clients like this, I'm like, okay, so listen, they were like, well, putting that in is going to cost a lot. I was like, it could if you buy a house with radiators, or if you buy a house with forced air, the air shoots out of a vent and this hot air comes out of a vent. The ductwork is already there. You can add an air conditioning compressor. It's the same thing my parents did. Now you got air conditioning for like half as much or less than half as much because it already has the ductwork there. I have clients who bought a house with radiators. They put air conditioning already. Like, they've lived in this house for a couple months. I was like, wow, y'all were quick. Like, they wanted air conditioning. I mean, also because it was like couple heat waves right after they bought the house.
Right. Philly
So,
can
like,
get hot as fuck though, too.
Yeah, it can.
I mean,
Right,
look, they're still going to renovate a kitchen. They're probably still renovating the bathroom. Like, it's a big house, but like, you know, they did what was comfortable for them first, and then they can keep doing things as you go.
Right.
It's
What's up,
always
Doug?
going to be a project.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say too is as someone who bought this house not knowing how to do jack shit, I was never a handy human. But this house has made me learn that kind of stuff. And we bought this house. I remember, like you said, be patient. Like, we looked at 60 fucking houses before we finally found the one that actually was like because we have 4 kids, we got to make sure we have space enough for everybody.
Wow, you have 4 kids?
Yeah, we're a blended family. So, like, I had 2 from my first marriage. My wife has 2 from her first marriage.
You still have 4 kids. That's a lot of kids.
But so
Right.
so
I always say Doug has 4,000 kids. He gets bristly when I say that.
Not quite, but yeah. But they're all teens, so a lot of them kind of just ignore us. But at any rate, it was something where we came in, the house was just filled with wallpaper. And it was like, it took us a week to get all the wallpaper off the walls. But if you can figure out a way, now, granted, this is, again, coming from a place of privilege, if you can actually do the work yourself, if you can figure out a way to do, and listen, there's a million YouTube videos on how to do everything you can think of. Doesn't mean you'll do it as good as contractors. I'm never saying that ever. My wife and I remodeled this kitchen, and we did it all ourselves, with the exception of getting a countertop put in because I have no access to a granite quarry and I can't make that shit. So, but we had somebody come in, and that was the biggest expense in our remodel. But we did everything else ourselves. We bought cabinetry. We put that in ourselves. But it took us 3 months. It took us a long time. But I guarantee you, if we would have had a contractor come in, it would have been 3 or 4 times as much as what we spent. But that's also means, like, I had the time. I was working from home. My wife works from home. Like, we had time to do that, and we were fortunate enough to have some money that we could do that. So if it's something where you can figure out a way to do that, you can. This whole sweat equity thing is a real thing. You can actually add a lot of value to your home by just doing it yourself. But again, that's if you can. Like I said, I'm not saying that's for everybody.
No, absolutely. Like, I mean, that's the thing that, like, I think HGTV and those shows kind of show you, like, you can do some of this stuff yourself, but no, it's not 30 minutes. It's 3 months. Like, you can't do anything in 30 minutes or an hour, or think like some of these things are weekend projects. Like, some of it's trial and error. Like,
Very
you
much.
really have to figure out. I mean, and then it also depends on how handy you are. Like, some people, like, I think one time I came in and my heater wasn't working, and I was like, oh shit, I got to call the plumber dudes and, like, figure out why I don't have any heat. And, like, it's Saturday. It might not be until Monday. But, like, when people come to my house and they do work, like, I sit and they teach me stuff and I listen. So, like, this dude, he was, like, really cool about, like, telling me a lot about my heater. Like, my heater is a steam heater. It's super old. Well, it's a new heater, but it's like an old type of heat. So he told me about a guy who had this YouTube page and, like, how he talks about the kind of heat it is. And I, like, Googled on his page, like, what this could be. I went in, did something, heat pumped right on. When the guy called me back, I was like, so the heat wasn't on? This is what I did. I flipped this damper thing up, and all of a sudden it started coming on. He said, yeah, you're good. I said, is it dangerous? He said, no, you're fine. I said, all right, cool. I don't need you. I said, how much would this cost? He's like, $300. I was like, all right, I'm good. No worries.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that that will always work out that way for you. But, like, if you can figure out a way to look at it and give it a try yourself, if you're comfortable, like, I won't touch electric other than to replace light fixtures and switches. But plumbing is something I'm also a little squirrely about because I don't want to mess that up. But it's just to your comfort level and what you can afford, I think.
And you can head to Home Depot, like Manny says, and get one of his people to hook you up.
Fucking Manny. Oh, really?
Lowe's too, don't discriminate. But no, I mean that can go. Manny's making a joke and it's funny, but, like, that clearly can go both ways because a bad contractor can fuck up your life for a long ass time.
That's the only thing that I've had, like, my frustration with, like, real estate and like home shit is like the contractors and the people you work with, right? There's some great ones and there's some really shit ones, like really, really shit ones. And I think the shit ones give the good ones like give them a bad rap because the good ones are like really, really good. Like today, I was at my sister's house and she was getting some electrical work done, and our electrician is really dope. Like, not only does he like tell you what he's doing and what's going on, like he makes sure the shit is safe. But there are definitely some contractors out there who just like kind of like scammers, like super duper scammers. But like I used to say a couple years ago, like I wish I could find, I'm pretty sure there are. I wish I could find like an all woman crew. Like I really want like a woman electrician, a woman GC, a woman plumber, like all of that. Because sometimes dealing with men on these things is like it's insane. Like I've had times where like I'll stand
from a
there,
woman point of view, of course, right? Is what you're talking about, obviously.
well, not necessarily like because like
Because
there's
they
times
explain.
where, like, I've talked to like my dad will be here because like I'll have to go to work, or my brother will be here, and like the guy, whoever he is, like the plumber or whoever, I'm asking a question, and then he turns to the dude that I have here to say, to give them the answer. I'm like, I'm paying you, like, and ask the question, like, no. So,
right.
Like,
this is what I was saying. Mansplaining.
yeah, like, but it's like I asked the question. Like, it was funny because even when I got my heater installed, right, I asked the guy. I was like, "Oh, can you show me how to light the pilot?" He was like, "No, you should let your dad do it." I said, "Why?
What?
You don't like fire."
What?
Yeah, he's like, "No, you shouldn't do this.
No.
You should let your dad do it." And my dad was like, "No, show her how to do it." I'm not doing that.
No, and if we were in a household, you'd be better than me at this shit. No, it's awful.
I have, like, I like pilots to things. I've been on my roof. Dudes will be like, "Yo, it's high." I'm like, "Okay, can I get on here? Can I hold the ladder?" I've been on the roof of 2 properties that I've owned. Like, I want to see. Like, your pictures are cool, but I want to see myself.
Right, and that's also why, respectfully, it's going to take you a while to find you an all-lady crew because of that kind of thinking. No, because of that kind of thinking in the industry, like where the men are just like, "Oh, we don't really got to talk to the woman here. We'll just, side." Even though the woman is A, the owner, B, the owner, and C, the fucking owner. So you can't even get that much respect as the owner of the fucking house that they'll even talk to you. So of course they're not going to get an apprentice who's a lady and bring her up and teach her everything she knows, because it's an ego hit if she eventually when she eventually gets smarter than you, takes her knowledge and starts her own business because you're a fucking sexist asshole. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Go on, Latifah.
No, sorry. And this is the wild part, because like, so, people who are coupled, they buy homes. But the next largest group of people who buy homes are single women.
Oh.
Like, single men don't buy, single men buy homes, but at a lower rate
than single women. Okay.
Single women buy homes at a much faster rate than single men. And I remember this one contractor that lives on my block, I asked him, like, who do you work with? Who do you work a lot with? He's like, women, because like they want it done. They want it done now. They like, here, how much is it? Here you go. Like, get it done. And they were like, guys kind of like, I think I could do it. Maybe it'll get done. It might get done. I just kind of want to have the conversation, like, I want to know what it is to have the conversation with, my woman general contractor, my woman electrician, like, hey, I want to light here, there, whatever, and just have that conversation. And sometimes, like, I have to go into these conversations with like these dudes and be like, all right, this is what I want. Then they say, well, you can't have this because why? Well, is there another way that you can think of to make this happen? Like, I know the shit I'm asking for is not astronomical, it's not crazy. There is a way. You don't want to think about it right now. So, like, figure it out and make it happen.
Right. Doug?
I missed that part with the with the crew, but I think that's fucking, if you could figure that. I mean, we need more of that. We do.
Yeah.
And just the idea of like, I see it, and what's funny is like I recognize I have a boatload of blind spots about things, but like when we have people come to the house, like we have this like a plumber, I will generally be the person that talks to them about it because my wife's a bit of an introvert, and it's a little easier for me. So, but I will go and I'll be like, okay, well, we need this, we need this, we need this. But that's just because it's easier for me to talk to folks that are coming into the house. But I've seen people address me over my wife when she's perfectly capable of answering the question, and it's bullshit. And I wish it wasn't, but I don't know how and in those cases I've been like, well, you can talk to her. Like it's been something where before I would just do it and think, well, whatever. But now I've been trying to be a little bit more mindful of like making sure she's involved, and hopefully it's not something where it makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah, and as JG says, too much of these industries have an overrun on misogyny, sexism, and it has to fucking change. Yes, but I feel it more with the contractors and stuff, and I feel more of like it's an ego driven kind of thing, like, and again, women can probably do this better.
Well, again, we don't want to get into generalizations, but the idea there's an empathetic level that a lot of women have that's a little bit, it makes them a little bit easier to understand what you're trying to say. Whereas like, again, I'm talking like for me, like if I go and somebody says I have this, and my first thing is to think, all right, well, what's your problem? How can I fix that? Instead of actually hearing what you're saying and what your problem is. You know what I mean? Like I'm already formulating what I'm saying next, instead of just actually listening to what you have to say and being like, okay, all right, cool. All right. So, but yeah,
I hear you, but like, I don't like to deal with the generalizations either, but the whole fucking thing seems like a big generalization, Doug. So it's almost like it's like you're drug into the, what do they say? You're drug into the pig pit to fight the pig. Like, you got to get in there and start slinging with them because that's where they're at, which is like, oh, she's a female. So it's almost like the mentality I think a lot of females get, which I don't, but a lot of females get when they roll up to the car mechanics. It's the same. So she laughs. So I must have hit a chord there. Like, it's the same mansplaining bullshit. Like, no. Because a woman could know this shit as much, if not better than you. And I would love to be like Danica Patrick's like boyfriend or whatever, or even just a friend. And like, she rolls in to like some like, mechanic place that she knows infinitely more than anybody in that joint. And then to see them try to like mansplain her would just be amazing, actually.
It definitely
be like a real life My Cousin Vinny.
Right. Well, you go and try to mansplain Danica, and I'm gonna sit over here in the corner with a cigar and just watch. Like, and that's basically what they're doing to Latifah here, especially now that you have years of experience behind you. You years of not only experience as a homeowner, but now you have years of experience as a real estate person, which is a different angle on that. And you've been through a lot of different transactions where you've seen people, you already explained tonight, you saw somebody, you sold a house and then, they got air conditioning like 2 months later. You would have never got the air conditioner, but you saw it. And you just saw that happen. That's experience. And people don't understand that by just like looking at you. They just come in and see a woman and like, yeah, okay. Yeah, like, it's so horrible. So,
no, it's pretty funny. Like I've had like, I mean, here's the thing. Any homeowner, male, female, whatever, like you learn a lot, right? And like necessity makes you learn a lot quicker, right? Like I said, I had like some sewer issues because it's a 100-year-old house and it was built when the house was built and it's made of clay. And when the house settles, like it breaks. So Philly had these like laws with the plumbers union, like you can only use a certain type of piping under the ground, right? So 2017, I think they changed the plumbing code where you could like use this other way to like fix your plumbing underneath the ground. the suburbs and other people throughout the world have been using it already. It's like this trenchless method. They take like 2 holes, they punch 2 holes in, or they do 2 holes in the ground, then they like bore through the pipe and they do like this. It's not PVC, it's something else. This plastic piping, so it's like less digging, all this stuff. One time I saw like somebody down the street getting their entire front dug up. And I started talking to the plumber. I was like, hey, what's up? What y'all doing? Like, what's going on? They was like, yeah, we got this big job. I was like, oh, did y'all try like this method? And they was like, you can't do that in Philly. I was like, well, actually, 2017 to change the plumbing code, you actually can. He was like, what? Mind you, this is a conversation I had in like 2019. It was like, didn't know you can do that. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm gonna have to tell them. I was like, all right, cool. Because like I had learned because I needed to get it done. And I was like, listen, I'm just gonna tell everybody. Like that's the type of person I am. Like if I have the information and I can help you, like I'm gonna tell you. And like I was having a conversation with him, not like to help him, but I just wanted to know, like, hey, what was your reasoning for digging this up if you could do it this other way? And the reasoning was because they didn't know you could do it the other way.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting. Like even the people in the craft, like some of them don't know that they could do it a different way, an easier way, a safer way, because the front of my house, like the plumbing lines are 15 feet deep. So it's deep. Like it's super dangerous. It's super deep. Like trying to trench from like the front lawn into the basement to fix these things. And it's like, hey, you can just do it this easier way. But like I had to like fight for the city to like do it that way. And then now, I guess the plumbers union or something, they don't want people to know. I think that's why. I'm not really sure. People, that's what I've heard.
So Doug, JHG agrees with you.
Oh,
basically.
For decades, wow.
Yeah, well,
decades is a little short, but yes.
Right. Yeah, millennium, like since the beginning of fucking time. So on this note, if we don't shut this down soon, we'll be here another 3 hours. And
this is fun.
It might be cool. Might be cool, but now is a special time in our stream here. Here we go. So it's time for review. Meaning, Latifah, what did you have to drink? And would you like to tell everybody how you enjoyed them or not?
All right. So these are my current kind of favorites. So I had the
they're two different kind, very different tastes here.
Yeah. Very different. But these are my favorites. Like the Coastal Sunshine is like the starter, kind of like the, brunchier one, the one you drink like, 10, 11 in the morning. This one's like the heavier one. Just like, all right, I want dessert kind of thing.
Hazelnut and porters, man. And stouts.
Yeah.
That nuttiness and that roastiness together, it's just fantastic. Yeah. JC says, yeah, really decorate sensories. Yeah.
The place where I got them from, they only had one of these because it's not porter season, and I drink porters all year round. So they only had one. It was probably left over. I think it's probably left over from last year.
Every season is porter season.
That's what I say.
Mm-hmm. We all agree. You ain't gonna get no arguments here.
That's what I say. And when I say porter, I don't mean like Guinness either.
Right, that's a stout.
I mean, it's also super light. Like that's water to me.
Brown water stout. Look at that. We gotta get. We're gonna hit it.
After beer chick is like a very anti-porter person, right?
Is she?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's horrible. It's really, really bad, actually.
I mean, I'm also
it's really bad.
She's a bourbon drinker. I'm not a hard drinker at all.
She's a bourbon drinker. Other shit too, scotch, rum. Anyway, Doug, your review.
All right, so I'll start with none of these were bad. Let's just start with that. But the Symphony of Stars, fucking great can art. I don't know how you beat that can art. Really good oatmeal stout. I am not generally a huge fan of oatmeal stouts. I don't know why. It's just not really a big thing for me. The nitro stout that I had, this was really chocolatey and smooth and decadent, but low ABV, but really super drinkable. And I can hold this up. Nobody knows what the fuck it is, but this is the lemon.
It's Mac Brewing, motherfucker.
The Mac Brewing's lemongrass and honey ale. That thing was, it's a 14% beer that I drank in like 5 minutes.
I think it was less than 5.
Yeah,
it was delicious.
They're so good to like. You can just drink it so quick, and you have to remind yourself.
Yeah, and that makes it a bit dangerous. But my God, that was good.
A 14% session beer is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
It's super crushable.
It's really ridiculous.
It's a crushable 14% beer, and that is not something you've ever heard before.
So, I'm glad you drink it last.
Yeah, well, I generally will drink like the lower ABVs and build myself up, and I am a high ABV drinker kind of in general, but like, and I almost threw the barley wine. I was going to do that and the barley wine. I'm like, I might not make it to the end of the show, so I think I'll save that for the time.
That's why I drink the porter last, because I was like, yeah, sometimes I drink this porter. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go to sleep.
And then I had these two before we let our friend Latifah go. I had that barrel aged stout, which is good. Coffee. I sipped pretty much the whole time, and then I had Giant Jones Burton Ale, which is I don't even really know how to describe this beer. It's a
phenomenal beer.
It's a malt forward beer. It's an old school style. It's from Burton. I believe Burton is. It's
Burton on Trent. It's Burton on Trent.
Right. Which is a UK based old school, old style that they brought back over at Giant Jones. Giant Jones is one of our queer owned breweries in Wisconsin. They're one of the diversely owned breweries. There's only like 2 or 3 here in Wisconsin, so we celebrate them because they're fantastic and wonderful. So Latifah, we will let you go. We need to have you back to talk about more. I didn't even get to some of the real estate stuff that I wanted to talk about.
But what you want to ask?
No, it's cool. It's cool. We just have a limit here. We only really want to, keep our guests around. We will be, I will be having post-production beers. I don't know if Doug will, because I'm not sure how that 14% hit. But if you would like to,
I'll be backing off to something a little less aggressive there.
If you would like to stick around and have beers with us afterwards, we will absolutely love to. You can stick around in the green room and we'll just finish this up. But before you go, please tell us where everybody can find you, whether it be looking for real estate, whether it be looking for advice for real estate, whether it be looking for advice for yoga, whether just to say that you're cool, because you are. I'm not sure. Where can they find you?
Sure. So my Instagram is Philly Lala, PHILALA. Is a throwback from my AOL Instant Messenger days from college. So Philly Lala.
Dating yourself.
Listen, it's okay. I told you I was 4 when the move bombing happened. Philly Lala is my Instagram page. On there, in the profile, you'll see the link for my real estate page, Latifah Mcmullen. You don't have to spell it all out. So go to Philly Lala, and then you'll find my yoga stuff on there. And then if you want to contact me for real estate, you can just click on my Latifah.McMullin Instagram for my real estate page. I'll answer any questions. Like, I don't have to, if you are in a different city, different state or whatever, I can answer the questions for you. I've had clients call me from Michigan with different questions. So I answer the questions. I just want the people to have the information so that they can do whatever it is they need to do. Like, the goal for me isn't always like for you to work with me. The goal is for you to have the information, do what you need to do. So either whether you buy, whether you don't buy, you just have I want you to have the information to be prepared for whatever you want to do.
Excellent. And then the place you work for is at the bottom here, Super Realty.
Super Realty Group, the largest Black-owned brokerage in Philadelphia.
Yay!
It also happens to be in West Philadelphia. Yes, Super Realty Group. I love it. I've been there since I started my real estate journey. I love my broker. I love the agents in the brokerage. This year we'll be celebrating their 5th year anniversary in September. So
All
I
right.
started there like right after their first year. It's a super amazing place, really amazing like group of people. I've learned so much in my time there. I mean, so much. I mean, I definitely like I wanted to be at a brokerage where like it felt more like family. Like it feels more like people that I can talk to, people I can call, not this like big giant place where like you're kind of just a face and a number. You know, you walk in, it's like, hey, what's up? What's going on? What do you need help with? Like, I like that about it. And I mean, my broker is black. I am super pro black, so I'm all about black owned businesses.
Are you blackity black?
Blackity black, 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 black. I call
I love it. I fucking
the
love
playlist I have for my yoga class. It's called the Blackish Yoga Playlist.
it.
It's Beyonce, it's Nas, it's The Roots.
Yes. Yes. Doug, any final words?
No, just other than thanks again for being on. And again, we were trying to have a whole shit ton of different diverse guests on here, and not just diverse. Not trying. We are.
I always say,
like the idea of having like we've never had someone who is into yoga or real estate. Like this is great. This is exactly why we do this show, to have fun and learn interesting shit. And you're definitely interesting. And thanks again for being on. We really appreciate it.
I hope somebody learned something.
I did.
More interested in your brother. I don't know if he's still watching.
Who's more interested in my brother?
Yeah. You're more interesting than he is. Thank you. Just saying. Sorry, Dave. I love you. You know I love Dave Mack. So it's not even about that. But if I had to choose, I'm going to choose. Damn it. I don't get to choose who my favorite kid is. So I do get to choose who's my favorite McMullin is.
Oh, look at that.
I will see you in hopefully less than a month.
Yep.
It's gonna be great. We'll do some. I don't know. We'll do some content though. We'll put something out there. But I can't wait to see you. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see Dave. I can't wait to drink his collaborations. I don't know. Have you had any of those?
So I actually had the Fume, the one that's the collab with Montclair. That was really good. So it was kind of like, because it's more like my style of like smoky, I think it's called a Rausch beer.
Oh,
Rausch beer. Yeah, remember
Rausch beer?
you sent me this Rausch beer. Yes.
It's like smoky. It's like right up my alley. Like it's really, really good.
Oh, you were in the smoky beer house with me and Doug.
Listen, give me like smoky porter, chocolate. Like
yes.
So then I think the Trogs one I haven't had yet. He keeps trying to get me to drive to Hershey, so we might be driving to Hershey tomorrow. Because
I'll enjoy that. The Trogs brewery supposedly is excellent. I've never been. Greg has.
It is.
Well, I think there's some of his beer there waiting for him. You know, the collab beer.
It's gonna be better than mine though, Doug, because he's got backdoor access to Trogs and all that. Like, right. So, Latifah, thank you. We need to have you back early next year. We'll get because again, your knowledge about real estate, again, it's important for a lot of people. As you say, I used to work for a brokerage actually, and I stopped because I saw people taking advantage of people, and it really, really hurt me because I was making these deals, and then these motherfuckers were changing it they're like, oh, we could change it at the closing table. These people will take it. And I'm like, no, I'm out. Because this is, like you said, I don't think you said it. I'm going to say it. This is the biggest transaction of most people's lives. Is that like, people don't just spend $250,000 like every fucking day. Even if you buy a car, that's only like, you buy a new car, that's $25,000, $30,000. That's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But like $200,000 is a lot of money. Right. And just to be like, oh, we're going to change it at the closing, or we'll just shove this down their throat later. Like, no, bitches, I can't do that. And I was out. Like, seriously, like, it just wasn't, like, the morality of it just didn't add up. Like, and I was even, we say young people don't have morality. I was 25, 30, running around like a fool. Didn't really have the full morality that I had today. But I had enough sense to realize that, like, that was bullshit. And I wasn't going to do it. So I got out. But I can relate to you on this angle where, this is a big transaction, and people, it's just really, really tough to see people like raked over the coals when they're just trying to, this is your house. This is for your family. This is where you live. This is where you say your nephews or your nieces come over. This is where your brother comes over. This is where you host your family. Like, this is something personal. And just to be so like arrogant and assholes. That's why that bubble, went when we were younger. The housing bubble went up and the Fannie Mae went under and all that shit because these corrupt motherfuckers. So that's when I got out. So it's really good to talk to someone who's not a corrupt motherfucker, who's actually looking out for people and really just trying to, you're obviously trying to make a living, but at the same time, you're not making a living on people's misery. And so to that, I thank you. And you're just a wonderful person. And we love you.
Thank you.
And I don't know what Mac is wowing about. Maybe it's because I said, that I.
Like, wow, she gets all these kudos.
Right. Now, that was me. That wasn't Doug, Dave. Just so you know, Doug was way more diplomatic than I was. I went out on my limb, and I'll live with that. I think.
Wow. Just a wow out of nowhere.
All right, Latifah, thank you for gracing us with your wonderful presence. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
Yep. Another great guest.
Mm-hmm.
She's fucking fantastic. I can't get enough. Again, like I said, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. If we didn't stop there, it'd be 3 hours. So we gotta stop. Doug, you have something to say here. Let me crank this up here.
Yeah, so we do news now, and what we have is we've been not always going to be something where we have news, but this time we do. Previous guest of ours, Amanda Dibert, who was just awesome. She came on, and at the time, she was actually talking about producing this, He-Man Masters of the Universe, and today they announced the release date for that, which is September 16th. Not to be confused with the Kevin Smith version of He-Man, but this is their adaptation as a renewed cartoon. So I just wanted to share that because they finally have a release date for that, and good for her. She was one of the writers on the show, so we're very happy for her, and that's pretty great news.
That is, and we need to definitely have her back to talk about this. But also, though, I believe that is the weekend that is the next Brothers and Booze that we will not have. I believe that is the weekend of Fresh Fest. And I also believe or Barrel and Flow, and it's also the weekend that you will not be in the country. I'm pretty sure.
That is, I could be mistaken. I thought Barrel and Flow was the 10th, which is the weekend before. But I could be wrong. I will be out of the country. I'll be in Iceland until the 19th. So I definitely will not be there for the premiere.
Right. But
regardless, that's pretty.
It looks really cool. No, right. And it's about 3 weeks out. And Amanda's kick ass. So that's fun. Thanks for that wonderful update. Doug, we have, let's see here. So next week, I am out of my mind excited about Andy Little. Andy Lytle. He is a Cleveland Browns fan. He's also he has a podcast of a horror podcast. He has a Cleveland Browns podcast. He is the digital producer of the OBR, which is a website that I use to follow the Browns. He's a Twitch person. He's a horror and film fanatic. It's going to be fun. I'm not a horror person, but I'm going to learn about it. I actually want to talk to him about like horror like are there horror TV shows? Meaning, are there like?
Oh my God, Greg! Yeah, there's that. There's movies. His podcast is named after one of my favorite horror movies from the '80s. So I got a lot to talk to him about. So yeah,
right.
And you do too.
And I also want to talk to him about like bad horror. Like that's a genre too. And and then of course we're gonna talk about the Browns. And he's I wouldn't call him a Browns expert. He knows a lot more than probably I do. The Browns look to be set up to a really good season. They are a perennial dog shit, horrible franchise that has recently turned it around because they actually made some good hires after fucking decades of making terrible, horrible, brutal decisions like your Jacksonville Jaguars are currently involved in.
Yes.
They're lit, but at least right. Look, Matt goes, this is why Doug got the beer, because he's nicer.
Sometimes being nice pays off, Craig.
Look, I'm just keeping it
All right, quit digging a hole for yourself. Let's end this, man.
Right. All right. So yeah, next week we have let's see here, let's put it up here real quick. Yes,
Andy
next week we have Andy. It's gonna be fun. Doug, you already saw how it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. You've interacted with him a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, I can't wait. And again, horror is something we never talked here.
Nope.
And it's gonna be fantastic. So yes, Doug, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep. Cheers.